Perhaps we need some outside universal threat to make us recognize this common bound. I occasionally think how quickly our differences worldwide would vanish if we were facing an alien threat from outside this world.
Good evening and welcome to Spaced Out Radio tonight. My name is Dave Scott. Yes, I trimmed my beard, and I'm not sure if I'm happy that I did. Why? Because Matt Lay is on the show, and he has the best hair and beard combination in the paranormal going on right now, and you'll see him momentarily. But first, we want to say hello to each and every one of you because we love it that you're here. We have Eternity Eternal in the gold medal position. Kitty Caddywhack with a silver. T-Bone taking home a bronze medal tonight. Mel WD-40 is here lubing us up for tonight's show because Matt says, I ain't coming on Spaced Out Radio unless Mel lubes me up. So Mel is over in Matt's studio right now lubing him up as we speak. Mel, don't forget to give yourself a little shot as well, okay? You know why. You know why. All right, moving on down. Race Fan, how you doing? Road Flare, nice to see you. As we continue on with our roll call, Connie Waldrimp, welcome to SOR Chat. Thank you for joining us. And Frankie B, thank you for joining us. There she is, Mama Catherine. Mwah, I love you, my dear. I hope you had a great day. I hope you're ready for a great weekend. And it starts right now, just for you. It starts right now. I love you, my dear. And Stephanie Kenny Blankenship, how are you? Gear Jammers, nice to see you. Ozzy Boss Tiger, what's going on, my man? As we continue on with our roll call, there's Jaquetta. Thank you for coming on in. And who is next? Deanna Ann is here. Deanna Ann will be signing autographs after the show. Line up to the left of the studio, if you don't mind, to the left of the studio. Chris Irvin, how you doing? As we continue on with our roll call, there's Flubber Lane. Nice to see you. And we scroll on down to say hello to Honest Content. Thank you for coming on in. Fast Hemi, holy shit, where have you been? Where have you been, Fast Hemi? Man, that's like 3 beards ago since you've been here. Well, maybe 2. Definitely 2. Good to have you here, my man. JSCO, Thunderhead, nice to have you both here. Luscious Jules, good to see you. T-Bone, my man, thank you for coming on in. Again, I know you won the bronze medal tonight, but that's okay. I just wanted to say T-Bone, my man. I love saying T-Bone, my man. What's happening? All right, scrolling on down. Number 28 in your program tonight, starting in, well, where are you playing tonight? Starting at center ice from Stockholm, Sweden, Lars Jansson. There he is. Moving on down, J Truth, nice to have you here. Aggravated is here. Aggravated will be signing autographs after the show as well. Line up to the right of the studio, if you don't mind, to the right of the studio. Mima Flowers, that's pretty high up there in the quality of names. Mima Flowers, love it. Love that name. The lovely and talented Candace Helfrich, how are you? Undead Jed, thanks for coming on in. Shogun, how are you tonight? As we continue on with our roll call. And let's see here. Let's see, scrolling on down a little bit more. T-Bone, thank you for kicking off the Super Chat tonight. The Super Chat is a wonderful way to support what we do on this show on a nightly basis. Be like Brother Bone, everybody. Be like Brother Bone. Moving on down, we say hello to Robert Anthony. And who is next on our list? Well, let's just scroll down and take a look. Lots of conversation. JT Sims, welcome to SOR Chat. Thank you for joining us. Chaz Mataz and Allyson Ford. How are you, Allyson Ford? Allyson Ford. Hello and welcome to the radio and podcast side of Spaced Out Radio tonight. My name is Dave Scott. We're going to talk about Fear is Not Evidence, a paranormal show with Matt Lay, scientist, researcher, experiencer. You're going to love this show tonight. Promise you will. But first, we're in our roll call on YouTube. As we say hello to Jordan Cogburn, welcome to SOR Chat. Dunzel, how you doing? Nice to see you. And where else are we? Allyson Ford. There she is. Desert Rat, nice to see you. Super Chat is open. It's a wonderful way to support what we do on this show on a nightly basis. And don't forget to shop at our Spaced Out Radio store. We do not have ugly swag, people. No ugly swag. So make sure you go get some. spacedoutradio.com/shop. And Josephus, how you doing? Nice to see you. Throw those horns up, everybody. Let's rock.
Are you ready to hear your mystic voice of the night?
It's time to wake up.
He's here. Shush. Be quiet. He's ready for you to listen. Let's point our ears towards the little cabin knows. We're together, friends. It's time for Spaced Out Radio with Dave Scott.
From the mountains of central British Columbia to you listening around the world, this, my friends, is Spaced Out Radio. I am your host, Dave Scott, sitting in the captain's chair of SOR headquarters. We welcome you to tonight's show on our terrestrial affiliates around North America, digitally on every major podcast network. Our website, spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot. Read the Newswire. Check out our swag as well. You can follow us on X at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram, Spaced Out Radio Show, and on Patreon in the Space Travelers Club. Tonight's show is brought to you by Caribou Con. Head on over to cariboucon.com. Get your tickets for the only paranormal conference in British Columbia this year, September 18th through 20th. We have an amazing show tonight. Matt Lay, paranormal researcher, scientist, mad scientist, I should say. That probably works out a little bit more. Is here to talk about fear is not evidence when it comes to the paranormal. We'll get into that in just a little bit. Then in hour number 3, Swamp Dweller is here for another spooky story. We're going to follow that up with Lee Strauss. Yes, the Q&A, which is always a good time. Before we bring Matt on, I have a little announcement. I do this announcement twice a year. Twice a year I do this. You see, I'm somebody who used to think when I went into places like downtown Vancouver, any major city, and you see the homeless and the destitute and the addicted, that I used to be one of those people who'd be like, get the hell out of here. Go away. Shoo. Get a job. What a waste of life this is. And I would get really mad. I would. Because I just didn't like being bugged by those people. And then I realized I had it all wrong. And the reason why I talk about this now twice a year is because 8 years ago tonight, I found out that my nephew died at the age of 29 of a fentanyl overdose. And if you knew him, you would look at him and you would never, ever be able to see him as somebody who was an addict. He was in great shape. He carried himself well. He was just somebody who loved life. But his hidden addiction cost him that life. And every year I celebrate on the air the date of his birth because I was only 15 years old when he was born, and the day of his passing, which was 8 years ago today. And I remember that night because my sister called me, and Merle was actually in studio here, and he was on the air, and I had found out that my nephew had passed. It's a hard one. Yes, I shed some tears today, as we normally do in these situations. But here's the one thing that I always like to say. Okay? Every time you pass a homeless person, be like me now. Talk to them. Say hello. You don't have to give them money. You don't have to give them change. You don't have to do anything. Acknowledge them as a human being. Acknowledge them that they have some value, because these are people who feel that they have no value outside of the usage that they use, whatever their vice is. I love my nephew. I do. Still talk to him all the time, even though I know he's listening from the other side. I think it's kind of cool. But I want everybody to know there are people out there listening right now who are recovering addicts, current addicts, people out there who are just genuinely feeling down, depressed, anxious, not knowing what's going to happen. It's a tough world out there right now. Okay? And I get it. I do. I'm very proud to be very open and honest and public about the fact that I suffer from depression and anxiety. But I want you all to know, you listening to this show each and every night the way you do, okay, that means the world to me. That means the world wherever you are, whether you're listening online and you're in Australia or the UK or Mexico or the United States, Canada, wherever our great listeners are. Okay? It means the world to me that you are here. And if you're listening in on Radio Land or the podcast land, wherever our beautiful radio stations are spread around North America, or wherever you're listening around the world from the podcast end, you have value to me because you literally listen to this show. That's it. You listen to this show. And that proves to me that you have some value because you're willing to spend your time on me. Your time is important. I'm here every night. It's my job. But the fact that you take the time to listen and take the time to spend with us, whether it's on YouTube in our chat rooms or just the downloaded podcast side on Spotify or iHeartRadio, or you're listening in Kelowna or Noonan or Mississauga or Apache Junction, Bellingham, Ridgecrest, wherever you are, the Uinta Basin, wherever you are listening, thank you. Thank you for listening. Thank you for allowing us to be a part of your life. And because of that, that means a lot of value, not only for you listening, but for me being able to say that this show is darn well worth your time. And I celebrate my nephew tonight because I loved him. He would have been 37 years old this year, and he didn't make it. If you're addicted and you don't know where to turn, there is always somebody to talk to. There's always somebody to help. There is always somebody who cares. Never feel that you don't have anybody to care about you. Never. Okay? Because there are loved ones who do. You may not see it. It may not be the kind of love that you think, but it's right there. Take advantage of it. Even if they are a complete stranger, take advantage of it. I love each and every one of you because you take the time to allow me to have value, and in turn, you have value to me. So thank you. Thank you to my nephew for being absolutely amazing. I love him. I miss him. I think about him every day, just like I do my mom. But I always pay tribute. If you have an addiction, go get help. If you're depressed, feeling lonely, feeling that you just don't want to live anymore, go get some help. There are people out there who will listen. I promise you, it will work. Just be a fighter with us, will you? Thank you. Let's get to our guest tonight. His name is Matt Lay. Honestly, he has the best hair and beard combination the paranormal has ever seen. Matt Lay is the co-founder of the Mudutu Effect, an educational and esoteric project dedicated to exploring consciousness, spirituality, paranormal research, and the pursuit of knowledge. Named after the Sumerian word Mudutu, meaning knowledge, the project was created alongside Allyson Ford as a platform for those seeking a deeper understanding of the unseen world. Through Cosmos Astrum Radio, independent media, spiritual education, and handcrafted ritual tools and community outreach, Matt encourages people to approach the paranormal with curiosity, critical thinking, and respect for both ancient traditions and modern investigative techniques. His work also extends into collaborations with esoteric communities and educational initiatives that help newcomers navigate the many paths of the occult and the metaphysical world. Let's bring him on in. Matt Lay, one of my good friends on this show. How you doing, my friend? Good to see you.
Good to be back.
You are a retired member of the United States Air Force, now living in the beautiful province of Saskatchewan because a Canadian girl put her fishing hook into your lip and you bit. Okay. First off, thank you so much for your service. We greatly appreciate that. And how did you get into the Air Force with that beautiful hair and beard combination? I can't see you with short hair, my man.
Oh, I had the whole high and tight, and yeah, it was ridiculous. After I got out, I kept it that way for a while, and then let it go. Yeah.
Why not? Why not? You look like a wizard. And I mean that with all due love and compliment, man.
Oh, that's the most running nickname I have right now is I am the wizard. A lot of times I hear the Black Sabbath song playing in the background.
The paranormal, why does it mean so much to you?
It's more the mystery of it, and there's a lot of correlation with paranormal. I just did a lecture up near Saskatoon just about 3 weeks ago, and Allison's cueing me in the background. That's how we have to operate. I'm old. Give me a break. But no, and this is the thing, is paranormal by definition is anything mysterious that happens that cannot be explained through conventional sciences. Okay, then there's the occult, which just means hidden. So technically my keys every Monday morning when I'm going to work are a bridge between the paranormal and the occult, because I can't explain why I lost them because they're hidden from me. So yes, in everyday life, these two things are part of every discussion we have around here.
When did it all start for you? This push into the paranormal. How did it begin?
Well, I grew up in the South. As you can hear the accent, it's still here. And everything is very superstitious in the South, from, cryptids to UFOs or UAPs nowadays, to don't go in those woods because, whatever, in those swamps. So I grew up in that type of environment. So I wanted to know the whys, even when I was younger. I wanted to know, why do people say this? Why did people see that? The UAP or UFO back then, until I physically saw one, I thought it was just another tale. And so, or the same concept with cryptids, and the same concept. I was always that person that was going out to seek visual evidence.
So when you started looking for that evidence, what at first did you see, and how do you compare that to what you see now?
I think it's a strong case for perception, because back then, going back to the title, what we're discussing, a lot of it was driven out of fear. you wanted to get over the fear. So even like the triangle that I saw, that wasn't really fear based, but here is 13 years old, a buddy and myself are wrestling and out in the field, and you can visually see it flying low right over the top of us. This is in Mobile, Alabama. And both of us saw it. Well, he takes off running because, once again, fear controls. And here I am trying to figure out, I wonder how I can talk to it. That's the different mindsets. So, so here I am. I grew up in a very eclectic family. And so with that being said, and now I'm thinking about my brother's aspects of his hermetics, my mother with her readings, and I'm trying to reach for different avenues of consciousness at 13, trying to understand how do I connect with this triangle. So that's the difference. Fear can consume and have you run away. General population is controlled by the media and movies and TV. Back then it was all movies and TV. We didn't have the internet for all you youngsters, but we, with that aspect, he takes off running because he's influenced by that. I was never really influenced by that. I was influenced out of curiosity, but not driven by fear. So,
did you always feel kind of connected to the paranormal?
Yes. Mostly because I was just a weird kid. So, if you're weird, obviously paranormal is outside the realm of scientific research. So here we go. If you're outside the realm of scientific research and you're that weird kid that's outside the norm, obviously you're going to find something to fit in with.
Very true. Very, very true. Matt Lay is our guest tonight on Spaced Out Radio. Matt, as we kind of move the ball forward, you have kind of dedicated your life to researching the paranormal phenomena. What is really going on out there? What is a ghost? What is the spirit world? Where do we go when we die? What are aliens? What are cryptids? You kind of delve into everything under the paranormal umbrella. Why have you taken on such a cause? Why is this your mantra?
Well, it's funny. I think a lot of people have this. It's just that they don't really express it because the possibility is, what might be said back to them? What would be accepted? How often do you, if you're sitting at work and you turn around and go, well, like right before we came on air, my wife and I are discussing photons and wavelengths of bodies and how they can act as filters. These are normal conversations. So with that being said, I've mentioned this to other people and they're like, you know what? I was wondering about that, but I've never talked about it. I've never put it down in words. I was just a random thought. I personally believe that a lot of people have a lot of great theories that they just don't bring out to the public. And like fear is not evidence. That's papers that have been sitting on my Google Drive forever. And I decided, I need to release this. It's the same concept. And it's funny because some people have read it going, you know what? I had the same thought. And so to say that it's because I'm no expert by any means. I hate that word because, we're constantly learning, but I have life experiences, two different things. And I love sharing those experiences. I am not a professional expert in this field. I lived it, breathed it. I love everything about it, from the paranormal all the way to the occult. And because I can bridge all those aspects, including physics, But with this being a life study, Dave, I think a lot of people are life studying it, whether they know it or not, because they're asking those questions in the back of their head.
I like how you put it as a life study, because most people know that eventually we're all going to die. That is the one given. Taxes and death. That's all we're really guaranteed in this world. Okay. The rest of it we have to make on our own. But when we sit there and we take a look at it, the majority of people, and I will admit, I'm included on this list, Matt, we don't want to think about it. We don't want to think about the afterlife. Yeah, sure. I've had ghostly encounters, but I'm not sitting here thinking that could be me one day on the other side haunting the hell out of the people that I don't like, even though now that I say that, it sounds kind of cool.
I'm down for that. Want to team up? I got a list.
Sure.
And it's funny because, what you're saying, in 2001, I was hit by lightning, and, I was flatline in Douglas County Hospital in Georgia, and I got a very small taste of it. But with that being said, a lot of people, the more consciously aware, I think a lot of people are not as afraid as it used to be. And because more and more people are educating themselves and understanding consciousness and the cosmos around us in general.
Why do we fear it then?
It's more the unknown. Why would you jump into a lake you can't see the bottom? Why would you, until you do it? But it's more the fear of the unknown. And also, a lot of us were pre-programmed. You have this fear pre-programmed into you from an early stage in your life, and that pre-programming, whether it's superstitions or and I'm not superstitions, but I'm probably one of the most superstitious person. At New Year's Day, I got to make my pork chops and my black eyed peas and everything else. But when you look at a lot of the things that people are afraid of, and and I apologize, I talk with my hands, so if you see me whack the mic, that's what's going on. No Italian in me, but the thing is that a lot of times most of our fears are ingrained from either parents, family, our social or cultural, or even religious indoctrinations. So these biases, I'm going to call them, are ingrained into us, whether you know it or not. They're subconsciously there, and that's what drives a lot of our fears.
I think for me, it's the fear of the unknown. The what if Charles Darwin was right? What if there, and look, I don't want to make this a religious conversation, but I'm a God guy. I believe that there is things on the other side. I believe there is a heaven. I believe that there is a hell. I think we're probably living on hell right now, to be blunt. But with a minute to go, I fear the fact of the what if, because I kind of like it here. I kind of like breathing. I kind of like watching my kids grow, my grandson grow, going out into the forest looking for Bigfoot, all this great stuff. I like that. And I can't even imagine at one point I'm going to have to give it all up.
But here's a thought for you before we get off in this 1 minute. What if you're hung up on the physical aspects and breathing is no longer needed, touch is no longer needed, and you're now connected to something far greater? Just ponder that.
I don't think I can. I don't know how. No, and I mean that all truthfully. I don't know if I know how. Right? But let's talk about that and more, because Matt Lay is our guest tonight on Spaced Out Radio. He's got a new book out. You can find it on Amazon, called Fear is Not Evidence. He takes a deep dive into the do's and don'ts of paranormal investigation, kind of the faux pas around it. We'll be back on Spaced Out Radio with Matt Lay next. All right, we're clear. Hi, Hillbilly Herb. How are you? Who else jumped in here? Jerence Carter. Jerence Carter. Jerence. Well, Matt already won the beard contest because I shaved tonight.
Yeah, I was looking at one of the questions. Yes, that was Mobile, Alabama. That was born and raised. Don't hold that against me.
How long have you been in Saskatchewan now?
What is it, 14, 15 years?
This is how I think you got there. I think when you showed up to meet Allyson for the first time, because she is a known Canadian,
Mm-hmm.
I think you're stuck there.
Yeah.
I think she chained you, and I think that she only gives you enough slack to go to the bathroom, to have a shower, go into your office and your mad scientist room. I don't think you've seen the outside in probably, since you got there.
Well, I don't go anywhere. I just go to work and come home.
I know. You don't come here, even though you've been saying you're coming to my place for like 5 years.
Yeah, I don't go anywhere. Sorry, I just saw the comment. You got one of the Oak Ridge boys. I'll take that.
It's Jerence Carter, everybody. Jerence Carter.
I should get my hat. Yeah.
Oh.
I wear one of these wide brim black hats.
Yeah.
So yeah. But yeah, I no, it's all self-inflicted. I just pile myself up with projects and don't even realize how many I've got going before it's too late.
If you need an exit, we'll come up with a password.
I might have to.
I live in Newfoundland, Allyson. I live in Newfoundland. Just in case I rescue Matt, cut through his chains.
Yeah, and it would literally to disconnect. I don't know. I probably would go mad to disconnect. I've got so many.
I mean, you know what? And I mean this with all love and admiration. I don't think you could have done half the work you could have done without having such a supportive wife in Allyson.
100%. She's
amazing,
and it's great because when I come up with a theory and I start building something, she'll give me the what if, and I'm like, going in the wrong direction, So
yeah, you guys really complement each other on that, and that's hard to find. It really is, to share the same hobby and being able to work off each other like that. That is so hard to find.
It is, and it's great, especially how we met. And
well, she's not listening, is she? Because we don't want to, give her a swollen head or anything.
No, I don't think she's listening.
Okay, just to make sure.
I think she went upstairs, but she may have her
probably listening
phone.
there.
Yeah. Comes downstairs with that rolling pin again. I mean,
Well, I forewarned you. No, I'm teasing. I'm
Yeah.
teasing. All right, we got about 45 seconds. All right. Don't make me have to have that conversation with Jules, man. I don't know what's happening, but don't make me have that conversation. Damn it. Damn it. Jules carries a big rolling pin, man. You don't want none of that. Thank you to T-Bone for a lone super chat. T-Bone, thank you for gifting a membership. We love you, buddy. And we're coming back here in 10 seconds. Here is the second half hour of Spaced Out Radio tonight. My name is Dave Scott. We appreciate you listening in as we get into the paranormal with author, researcher, mad scientist, Matt Lay. But first, we want to remind all of you that if you missed portions of this show or others, always check out our free archives on YouTube or any major podcast network. Our website, spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read the Newswire, check out our swag as well. Follow us on X at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on Patreon in the Space Travelers Club. From beautiful Saskatchewan, not Saskatchewan, Saskatchewan. How long did it take you to get out of Saskatchewan to Saskatchewan, Matt?
That was pretty quick. The rest of the names, I can't tell you how many times I messed those up. Because in the South, everything, your A's and, some words are combined together, and you got your A's that are, extended. So you can only imagine how I pronounce Assiniboia. So I won't repeat it. But so just let your imagination go wild. But there's a lot of names in the South I challenge you to try to pronounce.
Yeah. Well, Saskatchewan, I mean, not everything is Meadow Lake.
No.
Not everything is Moose Jaw.
No, you got Climax, Elbow. Then you got the ones you can't pronounce. You just say, I'm going that way. Because you can see it no matter where you are.
Then it really screws you up when you get to Lloydminster and you realize that half the town's in Alberta and the other half is in Saskatchewan with different area codes and time zones.
Time zones. That's what messes me up.
How can you have one half of a city in an Alberta time zone, which is mountain time, and the other half in the central time zone? I don't get it.
Me neither. Oh, there's a couple of towns like that here. So,
yeah.
Actually, there's, and I can't remember the town. It's up north and it's close to the border, but it's inside of Saskatchewan, but it is on a completely different time zone all to itself. It's wrong on so many levels.
It is wrong. It is wrong. Tell us about fear is not evidence.
Fear is not evidence. Too many paranormal teams and researchers, investigators, focus more on labeling based off of fear. They get excited and either they get scared or they use fear as a tactic to control the situation with their clients or wherever the location. And what I wanted to do, and I've been sitting on this book for several years now, and it focuses on, even with the dialogue that you're having with someone invites you into their home, and you don't want to immediately start throwing out labels. You really don't know what's going on. People walk in the door and it's a demon because they saw it on a TV show, or I saw this on this episode of such and such. I know exactly what it is. Oh, stop. So the book goes through a step-by-step explanation of not only the tools that are being misused, but because when you see them on the TV show, they're being used for production, not actual research. What their real purposes are, step by step on an investigation, how to approach an investigation through scientific method. But I do, in the past, when I've been on your show, I always state there's 2 different types of people, but there's actually 3. I added another classification in there because I always say there's the researcher, there's the enthusiast, and now the third one is the profit seeker. And the enthusiast, which is nothing wrong with being an enthusiast, you like for that rush, you like to be able to find. But the profit seeker is the one that goes in and charges these people, I'll charge you $3,000 to investigate your home because you have, and I'm using a real life scenario, I'm not making this up. You have a demon in your house, and I'm going to charge you $3,000 to go in, investigate it, and then I'm going to throw on additional charges to get rid of it. But there's going to be a reoccurring fee for me to come back to make sure it stays gone. So, come on. These people are discrediting paranormal research. And so I do, in the book, go through the full history of what, parapsychology through paranormal research and how it started going through its demise and started imploding on itself. And a lot of it has to do with media driven, people using that as a tutorial.
Here's one of the things that I've noticed, because over the years, I've kind of shied away from a lot of paranormal research groups because to me, they're all the same. Mm-hmm. It's all about Waverly Hills. It's all about Brushy Mountain. It's all about Alcatraz and Gettysburg and Bobby Mackey's and Virginia City. It's about a tourism collection to say, I have investigated here and there. Like you say, it's about the enthusiast. And I totally understand what you're saying about the profit hunters now too, because there are so many, TikTok channels and YouTube channels and Instagrams that are, everything is demon. Mm-hmm. Everything is demon. And, my buddy Merle, you've met Merle before. Okay. He was actually talking to me a few months ago about this, where a lot of these real haunted tourist attraction locations are now charging a fee for these groups to come in. And they also have to have some sort of liability insurance. Yep. Because they are, and as well in the contracts, they also have creative control of what you put on your social media channels. Mm-hmm. Because they are getting tired of these new social media investigators coming in and demonizing everything. Everything is a demon again. I mean, yep. It's like we're 10 years ago with Ghost Adventures, a television show where everything was a demon. And I say that facetiously, but what's happening here, and I was talking to a couple other places about this. What's happening is these locations will say, yeah, you can come on out. And they say, hey, my name is Dave. I have a TikTok account where I do paranormal stories, or a YouTube channel where I do paranormal adventures. I've got 500,000 followers or 1 million subscribers or more. We'd love to be able to get some attention to your place. Do you mind if we come and investigate? Well, you think, wow, I can get, you go look at the videos. This person say gets 1 million views of video, 1.5 million views of video. And you think, wow, I could get 1.5 million views of free advertising. Come on in. Next thing you know, you go look at their channel once your video is edited. They either A, don't put it up, or if they do, they're demonizing everything. Everything's a demon. And now people who were interested in maybe coming to your bar or your Airbnb or whatever are now refusing to come because there's demons there.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this is truly what's happening. And that's why a lot of these locations now are either saying no to social media or paranormal groups, or they're saying you need to pay big time and we get creative control.
Yeah, the first couple chapters is literally just focused on that, of how damaging it has become to the field and how it's made a mockery of it. And because the field goes back long before, media and everything else, especially along the lines of parapsychology. And I'm using in the book on paranormal all groups, because paranormal is an umbrella. It's not just investigating hauntings. It's, paranormal is, cryptids, and it's dealing with UAPs and, a wide variety of things. And unfortunately, with, with the paranormal, people immediately go ghost hunting, and they immediately shut out everything else. So the investigation process is very similar across the board, but it has to be modified. So literally in the back, I put together templates that people can modify for their individual areas that they can use as a step-by-step versus, let me catch this episode to see how they handled, this investigation, type deal. So, because really, and I don't go through a focus on the how to, because every scenario is different. You can't sit here and say, this is how you investigate. You can give recommendations how to approach it. But for someone to sit here and say, this is the only way you investigate, no. They are limited in knowledge and limited in locations, because you have to be able to adapt to the location. You have different cultural needs. You have different environments. And that's how you have to approach an investigation. You have to adapt to it and change. And you can't require one step-by-step methodology to it.
Why do you think there are so many people taking advantage of these paranormal causes?
I call them carnies. Because it's all about the performance. I personally, and this is probably going to sound horrible, but I think they were not loved as children. No, no, they're one, they get the attention. Two, they're a bunch of used car salesmen, so they're looking for the next profit. They don't care how or what the cost is, or to who the cost is, because it's not just monetary; it's emotionally, psychologically. These type of costs are irreversible in some cases, and so these people thrive off of this. Some of them think they're doing the great work. We're going to, I'm doing the great work, and they think they're doing good. But the thing is that they can't see past their own greed to realize that they're actually hurting people.
So is it more about the people or taking advantage of the social media frenzy that's going on, where you have a couple of good looking 20-somethings going out and taking on all of these paranormal hotspots?
Yeah, I mean, look at this face. You don't want this in your, location. No, it is about the attention. It is about the popularity, the likes, that drives most of these paranormal teams. I was watching, I do get a chuckle of watching these new teams that, pop up. And So, uh, like there's one that I was watching just recently, and I liked it because it was Appalachian, and some of the stuff that he posts online, just I honestly I couldn't even watch hardly a couple of them because it was just so infuriating watching how he immediately labeled it and how he did everything. But then you got the others that you got the models, the arms crossed and the models, the proverbial picture that you always see. And then you do your research on the individuals when they post it, and it turns out that's literally what they are, is actors and or models, and they have no interest in the paranormal. So people get roped in and watching that, and turns out, oh, that must be legit. It's a twofold thing, because you got the people that are feeding it, and then the people are putting it out there. So if you're going to feed into it, like me watching those Appalachian ones, I'm feeding into what he needs. So these people, for a better word, are leeches.
Well, let me ask you this: what is these paranormal teams? And there are probably 10, 20,000 of them, if not more, in North America. What are they doing right compared to what they are doing wrong?
Oh, well, I'm going to go back to a quote that you said a while back. Out of all the paranormal teams, only about 5% are legit. And I would actually, now with the gaining popularity on TikTok and everything else, ever since TikTok had come out, I would reduce that number. But doing right, the ones that I've seen, when they go into a location, they're not labeling it. They're just there to investigate. Now, I've seen this few and far between, but they just go in to gather data. What is this? What can I get? I'm not looking for blinky lights. I'm not looking for this. I'm looking for data that I can compare. Those are the ones that I feel are, now these are investigations. So when you're going in for investigation, you're only looking for data. And you cannot reach a conclusion until all that data has been reviewed, and then reviewed again, then reviewed again. And a lot of times you walk away with even twice as many questions. But the ones that are doing it wrong are immediately walking into the investigation, labeling it before they even get in the door. They are running around with the wrong equipment, and saying that, and I'm going to use this term, and this is right here in Regina, Saskatchewan. A K2 meter is a ghost finder. Just, try not to laugh too hard, but a K2 meter is a ghost finder, and literally does the entire sale. I'm going to call it a sales pitch for the investigations that that they are finding the ghosts with this ghost finder, and it's a K2 meter. It measures EMF readings. It measures the environment. And they're not even pointing it correctly, but the point here is they're using the equipment based off of what they see on YouTube and TV shows. That's their training manual. Now, here goes the big question for you. Why is it that we don't have these training institutes anymore that we had in the 50s and the 60s and the 70s? It's because of all this over time from the 80s on, between the satanic panic and everything else where labeling could happen. You had all these groups see it as an opportunity for profit, and that started to implode on itself. So researchers and investigators started becoming few and fewer, far between. And then you had the profit seekers. starting to gain momentum. So the only training, really, the only opportunity that a lot of people have, unfortunately, are media. And all it does is just keep feeding the beast. That's why I'm kind of hoping the book kind of changes the pace a little bit.
So I'll give you an example. I do a ghost tour. You and I have talked about this.
Mhm.
Okay. I'm not about trying to solve the paranormal mystery there.
Right.
And you're going to cringe when I say this, but I own about 12 K2 meters. About 12. Because in my job with trying to raise money for the museum, knowing where the electricity and the copper wires and everywhere it is in the building.
Mm-hmm.
My job is to raise money for the museum.
Right.
We're creating a paranormal atmosphere for people to have an experience rather than doing hardcore science on them.
That's two different things. And
it is. Okay. Explain why it is.
well, because number one, on a ghost tour, and you named it perfectly when you said for the museum, because when you do the ghost tour, let me guess. I've never been on your ghost tour, so I'm going to guess. You're going through and you're talking about the history. You're talking about the history of this. You're talking about the history of that. Oh, that's what I like about ghost tours, because they focus more on the history, and they focus more on the experience. If you're going on a ghost tour for the experience, that's what you're paying for. You're paying for, honestly, you're paying for the ride. But I hope you're also coming away with the history. And so it's all about the experience.
Right.
So
I have people overnight right now
Mhm.
going on. They purchased an overnight experience at our museum. Haunted108.com. Cheap plug there. Book it. Okay, but they're there right now. And the one lady said to me right before the show, or when I was at the museum preparing them for their tour, she's like, I just want to see something.
Mhm.
She goes, it's not that I disbelieve. She goes, but I just want to see, hear, feel something with my own eyes for once.
Yeah.
Okay. And that's what we try and provide, is to give those people an opportunity to have one collective experience.
And that's in that collective experience. What's great about those, and this happens actually in legitimate investigations. You have one person that is, I've heard so much about the history about this, and that this is going to be happening, and that feeds into the rest of the team. So no, these people probably don't know each other, but they're going in. It takes one person going, I just want to see something. I want to experience something. The other one goes, you know what? So do I. And it feeds into each other. So, but that's the same thing as pushing fear. You're not pushing fear to control the environment. You're just giving them the experience. So that's the big difference. I've seen ghost tours where they focus on fear. Give you an example. This happened last October. There was a ghost tour in Regina, and the person on the tour, running the tour, was telling people, I see that something's attached to you, something attached to you at that last location. If you come to me after this, I'll get it removed. They're using fear as a control mechanism. Then there's the other ghost tours that go, at this location, there's been these type of accounts. Here's the history of the location. These are the reported accounts. And then there's the other the other ghost tours, very similar. They go out with, give them one ghost box and some K2 meters and whatnot. And they don't know that they just passed it by their phone, and it triggered it. But they're there only for the experience. They're going through the festival, I guess we'll call it the Festival of Experience. And that's the different grades of this. You got the ones that are doing these ghost tours as an opportunity to capture and to hold that wallet.
And on that note, Matt, we're going to get you to hold on right there because we are going to go to break here at the top of the hour. From the beautiful province of Saskatchewan, Matt Lay, a retired United States Air Force veteran, now practicing his mad scientist ways, trying to prove the paranormal and what happens when aliens come down, Bigfoot comes running around the corner, the ghosts are haunting your house, and you're trying to figure out what happens when we die. This is Spaced Out Radio with host Dave Scott. All right, buddy, we're just going to play a quick video here for about 5.5 minutes, okay?
All right, sounds good.
Our merch is Bigfoot approved. We have t-shirts, we have mugs, we have hoodies, we have socks, we have hats, we have stickers, and so much more. Whatever you're looking for, we have you covered. Why just be a fan of the paranormal when you can buy Spaced Out Radio merch and look the part? Our merch ain't ugly, folks. Check out the Spaced Out Radio store. Find the link in the description below.
Lurking within the forested region of the 108-mile ranch, where the worlds of the normal and paranormal collide. CaribouCon is waiting for you, bringing together a panel of renowned experts in the paranormal, cryptid research, and UFO phenomena fields. Get ready for a spine-tingling weekend in the heart of British Columbia. Enjoy fascinating discussions, presentations, tours of local haunted areas, and skywatching. Learn from investigators, authors, and enthusiasts who explore everything from ghost hunting techniques to sightings of Sasquatch and beyond. Whether you're a seasoned paranormal researcher or just love a good spooky story, this is your chance to connect with fellow enthusiasts in one of BC's most mysterious areas. Tickets are on sale now. Grab yours before they're gone. Visit cariboucon.com for details, tickets, and updates.
Are you ready to dive into the weird and wonderful world of cryptids, cartoons, and chaos? Meet Dirty Filth, Spaced Out Radio's resident cartoonist and master of the mysterious. Every Saturday at 2 p.m. Pacific, join him live on the Spaced Out Radio YouTube channel for Cryptid Cartoons with Dirty Filth, a hilarious hour where he sketches bizarre beasts, shares mind-bending stories, and battles his mischievous cats. Whether you're a UFO enthusiast, paranormal fan, or just love quirky art, Dirty Filth filters the universe through his unique lens, creating cartoons that capture the strange, dark, and supernatural. Follow Dirty Filth on X at Filth1 or Facebook at Dear Filth for more filthy fun. Find his link in the description below.
Spaced Out Radio wants to hear from you. We love our community, and your voice truly matters. Drop a comment after every show and let us know what you thought. Agree with our guests? Tell us why. Disagree? We want to hear that too. We read every single comment. Jump into the live chat during the broadcast and be part of the conversation in real time. Got a killer topic idea? Your suggestions help shape the show. And if you want to take it even further, join our Patreon for bonus content and direct feedback opportunities with Dave and the team. This is your show as much as it is ours. Whether you're a longtime listener or brand new, we want your thoughts, your questions, and your ideas. And let's keep building this incredible community together. Spaced Out Radio, where the conversation never ends. What are you waiting for? We're listening.
With 5 explorable Gold Rush era buildings said to be home to spirits of a time forgotten, the 108-mile heritage site in the heart of BC's Caribou region offers a unique opportunity for thrill seekers and history buffs. For an evening of historical fun, step into our guided ghost tours, where spine-chilling stories of Gold Rush legends and unexplained encounters come alive. For those craving even more, inquire with us about conducting a hands-on paranormal investigation of your own. And if you're truly brave, book our haunted sleepovers. Spend the night at our B&B inside the McNeil House to truly experience this historical landmark and its ghostly secrets firsthand. For booking or inquiries, go to haunted108.com.
All right, here I am. There's Matt. Thank you to T-Bone for our lone super chat and for gifting a membership tonight. We greatly appreciate that, Mr. Bone. Thank you. We got about 30 seconds to go. Eva, how are you? Beth Noyes, nice to see you. Trucker Andrew, thanks for coming on in. Paramarv, how you doing, buddy? Nice to have you here. If you like Paramarv, get your Caribou Con tickets. He's coming from Michigan, so you can all do it. Promise you. You can all do it. Flat 6, nice to see you. Mm-hmm. And Animal Mother, nice to have you here. Here we go. This is hour number 2 of Spaced Out Radio tonight. My name is Dave Scott. Thank you very much for tuning us on in wherever you are on this beautiful planet we call Earth. Hello to everyone listening in on our terrestrial affiliates around North America, digitally on every major podcast network, our website, spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read the Newswire, check out our swag as well. You can follow us on X at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on Patreon in the Space Travelers Club. The Desert Clam has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club. Xenomorphic. Xenomorphic is your password. Use it wisely, Space Travelers, as the Clam sets the password each and every night right here on Spaced Out Radio. Matt Lay is an author. He's a researcher. He's a mad scientist trying to prove the science behind the paranormal phenomena, whether it's ghosts, UFOs, alien contact, cryptid research. He does it all. And Matt has a brand new book out. You can find it on Amazon called Fear is Not Evidence. And Matt really takes a pointed perspective here on a lot of these paranormal teams that are out there that are just doing their evidence-based investigation. And, you know, one of the things that I always like to say, Matt, and I haven't said it in a while, so I will tonight. You ever want to screw up a paranormal investigator, ask them what they do with their evidence.
Oh, yeah.
They cannot answer that question.
No.
99% of them cannot answer that question.
I have every amount of evidence. It doesn't matter if it's what I consider. Let's toss that out. I have every amount because sometimes you learn something new that requires you to go back. And you can go back and look at that again. So never get rid of any of it. So it's one of those things, but you're right. You know, oh no, we literally format everything for each investigation. Why? You should be storing that information because there's so many opportunities to continue to learn. So, yeah, but the other ones, are we supposed to do something with it?
Look, there's a lot of people trying to do good in this field. It's easy to focus on the bad,
Mhm.
but when we are looking at the good here, okay, what are people doing right in helping people in haunted situations that maybe they have a very active and maybe even a little bit of an angry ghost in their house?
The biggest thing is you empower the individuals. You don't take the power from them. You empower them. A lot of times, in these situations, once you empower the individuals with these scenarios, all the activity either stops or calms down. But you need to empower them, not, turn around and say, I'm taking all this away from you. I'm going to do it, or I'm going to use a higher power. And I say that with the most sarcasm I possibly can to settle this. You're removing their ability to handle the situation. You should be empowering individuals. You should be lifting them up and educating them on how to handle the situation on their own. They shouldn't be dependent on anybody. And most of all, if you give them the confidence and be able to communicate or whatever the case may be, a lot of times once that happens, all that activity just slowly starts calming down, because if you empower them, they don't have a need to come to you anymore. Not that I don't mind the questions, and not that I love to have these discussions, but if they are empowered and they take control of their own house or their own property, then now they are more controlling of the situation. And that's what one of the things, yes, it's easy to focus on the negative of it, but on the positive, these teams that go in and say, well, why don't you keep a journal and of everything that's actually happening, log the times, everything, and just pay attention to what's going on. So when you have these scenarios, as they're writing the journal, a lot of times people realize, oh wait, there's a pattern here, and then they start piecing it together, and they may actually come to you with the answer right away. You don't even have to issue out a team or anything. They come to you and say, I notice at 1:00 in the morning every night except for Wednesdays, this activity is happening. Okay, well, what correlates to that? If you let them, empower them to do their own research and things like that, you're empowering them to take control of the situation. Yes, they may still want you to come and investigate, but really, at the end of the day, they're asking you to investigate to validate their own theories. And unfortunately and fortunately, sometimes they've already got their minds made up what is going on, regardless of what you say. It's the electrical wiring, it's a train going by, except for Wednesdays at 1:00 in the morning, whatever the case. I mean, sometimes they already have their minds made up. Regardless, you're giving them the data. It's up to them to reach that conclusion, not you. And but doing it right, ultimately, if you can empower people more, it's amazing to watch that transformation.
Are we empowering the people, or are we empowering the connection to the another world?
I think it's I think the better explanation I can give of that is not a connection to the other world. It's a communication. Just like us sitting here right now, good communication can go a long way. And doesn't matter what the person's cultural or society background is, if they feel like they're making a good communication, then it becomes more of a relaxed atmosphere. They control the atmosphere. They control the energy. So to me, everything is about communication, henceforth my background, which is all about frequencies and communications.
But a lot of people will say, Matt, we shouldn't dabble in this. This isn't something to play around with. It's not a board game like Monopoly or Clue.
Mhm.
This is something that, we shouldn't be playing with when we really don't know what we are dealing with. So how do you combat that? Or say for the person who wants to try out the paranormal for the first time, how do we teach them properly if there really is no educational tool for this?
Unfortunately, that's a lot of deconstruction that has to happen with the individual. A lot of that is born out of the satanic panic, because everything between rock and roll to paranormal investigations and everything else that contributed to it a great deal. But it actually goes back before that historically, because you had those Victorian times with the seances and things like that. And this was a normality. This wasn't something that was odd, or you went to a special event to go explore. This was normal, but then as that became demonized over time, then all these other stories came along with it. You're allowing demons to come into your home. You're dabbling into the forces unknown. I mean, if you ever see me cook in the kitchen, you would know I'm dabbling with forces unknown. But when you're dealing with the paranormal, unfortunately, between the satanic panic and a lot of cultural pushes to remove that, because the more you ask questions about the unknown, the less control people have over you. So it doesn't matter if it's in the paranormal or philosophically, or however you want to look at it. The more you ask questions, the more you want to look beyond the norm, the less control people have. So now you're searching, you're wanting to know, and now the more questions you ask, it makes it an unstable environment, really, for a lot of cultures, a lot of societies. So what happens if the entire populace starts asking these questions? You got to be brave enough to stand up to it and say, I'm not going to accept the norm, what you're telling me. I want to ask those what ifs. I want to look beyond what you are willing to show me. So that eagerness is really uncontrollable in that society. So what's the better way to demonize it is to control the society.
The idea that, there's so many people out there who have paranormal experiences. Most people brush them off because they don't want to deal with it. Yet there are those who chase after it.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of them end up becoming so enthusiastic about it that they are going into graveyards each and every weekend. They are trying to go to the paranormal locations that they've seen on TV to say that they have been there. That's more enthusiasm, I believe. What is wrong, or is it wrong to just be a paranormal enthusiast?
It's really a borderline with me. An enthusiast, there's nothing wrong with it. Every paranormal investigator starts out as an enthusiast. I hate to say it, but it's the truth. You start off as an enthusiast. You are getting excited by finding, something that's happening. You don't understand it. Now you're just looking for the next one. Every paranormal investigator is an enthusiast when they start out. What bridges that is then they start asking the whys, and then they slowly become a researcher. But going into these locations, and we've had this discussion before, I have personal issues. This is just me speaking. I don't like people that go into graveyards and investigate. I'm not going to be haunting a tombstone. I'm going to be haunting a beach somewhere. Okay. I'm going to be hanging out the last place on the Gulf Coast that I remember I had the greatest time of my life. If I'm going to be haunting anywhere, the last thing I'm going to be looking at is a slab. But these people go into grave sites, break into them. That's just disrespectful for the living and the dead. But at the same time, that is an environment. We are a product of energy around us. It is not to go into ridiculous detail, but we create the field around us as well as a product of that field around us. So when we go into these spooky places that we want to go and investigate, all we're doing is manifesting out of fear or that enthusiasm activity. We're making that activity. So I'm against these people that go into these locations not invited. They don't go through the proper channels, or they go into graveyards and they start, poking around. And I especially can't stand, here's my soapbox, the people that go around, yelling at them and, you come out, tell me, what's your name? I dare you, whatever. Those people, if they can't act respectful in that, can you imagine how respectful they're going to act on a face-to-face conversation with somebody? So they are disrespectful all the way around. And it's fine. They're enthusiasts. I get it. They want that excitement. They want that adrenaline rush. But at what cost? Being disrespectful to other individuals as well as what they don't know is actually happening. They project that energy out. They're going to get it back regardless.
Matt Lay is our guest tonight on Spaced Out Radio. Matt, I always like to throw in a story every now and again when we talk about the paranormal world or the supernatural world. What is a story that you have that has deeply affected your research?
This one's pretty recent, and we're always testing here. And if I have a new device, which is plasma and frequency generating. And what I did is put the technician behind his screen. So actually, it's a screen that I have sitting behind me. So I can remove the idea of the observer effect. So if they see something, then it might manifest. So I wanted them only with the gadgets. Now, what do you think I use for investigations? Just throwing it out there. What do you think I actually use for investigations?
Well, besides some of your wicked wizardry that you use, I would say that most of the time you are probably using your own body as your conductor.
You're not far off, but I do. The only equipment that I use is a spectrum analyzer, an oscilloscope. I measure not only wind flow, I measure ion flows, and I measure isotopes. So the reason being is different stones and different things like that release isotopes when excited. So I want a baseline and if there's a change. So, and then on top of that, of course, video and audio is recorded. No K2s, no ghost box, no, none of that. It's strictly data measurements. So, with that being said, in this location, there's a group of us, and we're using our bodies as a focal point, utilizing this device. And it was interesting because didn't pick up any EVPs, nothing fancy like that. But when you cross-reference, and actually the question just came up in the group chat, and this is perfect. The data was correlated by the waveforms with every interaction. So we measured the waveforms, and you were able to measure every interaction. You measure the frequencies that are actually happening at the time. In this case, it was 17 hertz, ranging. Oh yeah, and we also use something called a DTG meter, which measures time distortions. So not your usual TV show stuff, I guess you could say. But it was interesting because none of the video cameras worked. Not one. No video footage. They were recording the whole time. Not one piece of video evidence. Okay, so I can't use that. I constantly am asking the why, but don't have an answer for that. Audio. Nothing was tangible. I mean, you can hear it, but you got to remove pareidolia. This is where your brain wants patterns, regardless. So this event changed my entire perspective, because when you go back and you listen to those little blips and those little things, you realize, okay, what is audio? It's waveforms. And we had this discussion before. So I built a program. Yes, I am old as dirt, but I still program. I programmed a waveform translator so I can remove the human element out and only measure waveforms. So now I can, by putting in basic vowels and consonants, you will be able to read across the screen the waveforms. The waveform, the first one, came up and said, I am here. Plain as day. Second waveform, I see you. These are confirmations of a communication, because literally in our conversation, this is following us going, we are here. Are you? So this is confirmation of a communication. Do I care if this is a ghost? No. Do I care if this is a entity or whatever? No, I don't really care. I want the data that we are communicating. I have my own personal theories, but regardless, I have hard data. That's what excites me, and that's what literally created a turning point in some of my research. And this is just from last year's research.
Matt, we have about 2 minutes to go before we have to go to break here at the bottom of the hour. Matt Lay is our guest tonight on Spaced Out Radio. As you conduct the research with your book, Fear is Not an Option, or pardon me, Fear is Not Evidence, what kind of fear are we talking about here? Are we talking about people getting scared during an investigation, or what are we talking about? Define that.
Investigators often use fear as a means to define the evidence, the investigation itself. They try to control the environment through fear, and that's really what it's focused on. Is that it's without fear being there, they don't have any evidence. So. Did it scare the client? Did it scare the people that are visiting this location? Oh, now we got evidence. No, that's not how it works. All you're doing is looking for another opportunity. Don't use fear to control. So, yeah, and that is so true. When people use fear as not only entertainment, but to also control an individual, psychologically, it has a long-term effect.
What is that long-term effect?
Oh, they tend to dwell on it. It's I am not a religious person, but whenever somebody instills a large amount of fear into you through doctrine or through dogma, even if you break away from that, that's still subconsciously, that's still controlling some of your decisions. So long-term effects psychologically, fear can dwell, abusive relationships, different things like that. Fear as a controlling factor of any situation has a long-term psychological effect.
Well, we could get into that more, and I do want to get into some audience questions when we return on Spaced Out Radio. Author, researcher, mad scientist Matt Lay, his book, Fear is Not Evidence. It can be found on Amazon. Second half of Spaced Out Radio is coming up next.
You're listening to Spaced Out Radio with your host, Dave Scott.
All right, we're clear.
Awesome. How's it going?
Fantastic.
Okay.
Fantastic. Philip Blair, how you doing? Magnus Vermagnuson, nice to see you. Anybody else jump in here? All right. Turn that on for a little bit. Suck some of the heat out of here.
Can I get a cup of coffee?
Second here.
Hey, coffee.
Can you hear my fan?
No.
Good.
Can you hear ours?
No.
Okay. Now you got me.
But then again, bro, I can't hear shit. So. I'm trying to make a new T-shirt logo while it's on my mind. Sometimes I get inspired. I want to make a new T-shirt logo while an interview is going on.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like listening to you and I'm like, damn it, I got to make this right now because I know I'm going to forget.
That was me 5 minutes before we went on because I was in the middle of typing an article and I didn't want to lose my train of thought. So I'm just steadily clacking away.
Wilford Brimley, how's the diabetes tonight? Please give us an update. Jeff Steve Garvey is here. He'll hit a home run for you. Oob to Joe's Maine, you've got boogers tonight. Wipe your nose. You got boogers. Fap, if you're listening, you're still highly unattractive. Extra small Lee Strauss out in the background. How you doing, buddy? Nice.
I don't know if you can see this. Let me tilt it.
Escape plan?
Yeah, this is a local artist that did this for us.
Nice. That is awesome.
Love that print.
I'm going to show you guys this. This is what I'm playing with here. Oh, God, this is funny. I think Lee Strauss might be the only one who buys this. This is his type of T-shirt. I'm thinking of doing this. Right there. The old buffalo.
Oh, yeah.
The guy who got run over by the buffalo.
Yep.
Who'd buy that? Let me know. Lee Strauss would totally buy that.
Oh, that's awesome.
God of Calamity, welcome to SOR chat. Little Mikey, how you doing? The hair's the same. Who's buying this shirt? All right, I'll put it up on the store here. It'll be on the store within the next hour.
Nice.
How about that? Lee Strauss, you can be the first one. Let me just make that a PNG with a transparent background.
You have to add Spaced Out Radio on there underneath or something.
All right. All right, here we go, everybody. Here comes the second half of Spaced Out Radio tonight. My name is Dave Scott. Our guest tonight, author, researcher into the paranormal, Matt Lay. Fear is Not Evidence is the big book that he has going on Amazon right now. You're definitely going to want to add that to your paranormal collection. Matt, is there a proper step? Let's say I'm an absolute rookie and I want to get into this. I've seen the television shows. I've looked online. There's a paranormal group or two in my town or city, and I'd like to try and figure it out. How do I learn? What would be your first 5 steps?
If I was to give them advice, number one, always remember the gadget. There's tons of gadgets out there. The ultimate greatest tool is the individual. I'm not calling you a tool, Dave, but I'm saying that, you're the best tool in the arsenal. And always give them the backing information. As an example, a camera records at 30 or 29.8 hertz frames per second. We always round it up, say 30 frames per second, because that's the average what people see. But our brains can process up to 70 frames per second. We can experience more than what a camera provides, but it's great for recording the experience, the events, also to go back and backlog. A really good microphone. Excuse me. A really good microphone. A way to record through that video. Journal everything, and ultimately, never accept any answer as the final. It should always create another question. If you think you have the answer, you should always sit back and come up with another question. For every door you open up, there should be a bunch more sitting behind it, because it's a continual research. And you have to look at everything as scientific methodology. It's not a science, it's a scientific method. So with that being said, do your homework. Find out what's the best scientific method to handle each situation. Really, it sounds lame. It doesn't sound as grand as watching these TV shows, but really, that's the best way to get started. Go out, go to these locations. Don't break in. Give them the safety rules. The toolbox talks, and and learn the etiquette of it all, and be respectful of your environment to others and what you don't understand, what you don't know. really, those are the key points for any investigator. Be open-minded, be, aware of your environment, but at the same time, ask questions.
Matt, as we start to kind of bring the paranormal to the front and center, do you think ghost hunting will ever overtake UFO research again?
My personal opinion, I think over time, people will slowly realize that maybe they're all directly related. And the reason I say that is I'm going to throw this out as a paper I did in conjunction with my wife, Allyson. She came to me and said, what if, and that's a running joke around here. If someone says, what if, I usually act on it. That's how I end up with so many projects. But what if, when you're on a paranormal investigation, you are the ghost of another paranormal team of another multi-universe? So instead of looking at it from the perspective of ghosts, what if there's a possibility, when you go through all the physics and all the theories and theoretics, what if you're actually the ghosts? You think you're out there hunting these ghosts, but you're actually the ghost of another paranormal team in another dimension.
I've often wondered that.
So, yeah, I did a long research paper on it because she came to me with that idea, and I'm like, that's actually a really good idea. So I went down the rabbit hole of all these string theories and everything else, and it's actually a possibility. It's not saying it is fact. There's the possibility.
Well, I can give you an example of that. In 2018, I was taking a group of 8 other people along the original Gold Rush Trail.
Mm-hmm.
And we were on the trail. There's no electronics around. And there were 9 K2 meters there. I know you don't like those, but I'm going to mention them anyways. We come across this, through questions, we come across this couple. We find out that they are a Chinese couple. They're heading to Barkerville, British Columbia, which was a giant, at that time in the late 1800s, a giant Chinese community was built there for mining and everything else, which was awesome. And after about 10, 15 minutes, we said, thank you. We'll let you go on your journey. We're all standing on the path. And yet all the K2 meters are still going off.
Mm.
So I'm kind of wondering, we've already said thank you and goodbye. Why are they still here?
Mm-hmm.
Then I realized something. It's not just them. It's their horses and carriage that they would have got to be carrying their supplies come up here. So I started walking down the path, and my K2 meter still going off. It's still going off about the length of the horses and then the length of the trailer. And then at the end of the trailer, it goes back to nothing. I start walking back towards the group. My K2 meter starts going off again. So I said, guys, we got to part the way here. It's not just them. They have their horses and their carriage here. We parted the ways, and you could see, as we lined up on either side of the road, you could see the K2 meters going off from bright red down to green, which means nothing, when they passed. And I often thought right from that moment right there, whether or not we're the ghosts to them in a different dimension.
Mm-hmm.
And it really baffled me because I used to think I knew what a ghost was. But after that, I wasn't so sure.
Yeah, so I would look at that from a perspective of not only timelines, but also now, given some of the recent research, I would lean more toward, just like what you're saying, is more of a dimensional. They're looking at it looking at you as the possible apparitions.
All right, let's get to some audience questions here. Matt, are you ever going to investigate various ways to contact UFOs, because UAPs are man-made objects, and report the results?
That's a yes. And well, if I get a chance to actually investigate those situations, I don't do too much investigating anymore. I'm more into the research, and teams often give me their findings or give me, contact me and say, what is the next approach? And a lot of times I invent these different devices or ways to where they can go out. I am physically not really the best person to have on the team because I got to sit down a lot. But the point here is with investigating the UFOs, I have a whole bunch of different ideas. I have a new device now called Vesper, and it's geared more toward that environment. It could be used in the hauntings locations, but it's more geared toward UFO research. Now, if I get those results from it, then I would love, because I always publish on the Mudutu.ca website. I always publish all my findings. There's nothing I'm going to keep this together and this is strictly mine. Every weird idea that I have, every idea I have for an invention, it gets published on there.
We got a hat trick of questions coming up from T-Bone here. Any supernatural experiences while you were in the United States Air Force?
That's none on the supernatural side. Other than when I was deployed to the desert. And this is more of a personal experience that could be translated to supernatural because, once again, the unknown. And I decided to go do what you're not supposed to do, go walking out in the desert at night. And I just wanted to clear my head. I'm really big about meditation and expanding the consciousness. And I was really really focused on how the stars and the land and everything else. And I got to the point to where I felt like, oh crap, I went too far out. I'm lost now. That's not the place you want to be lost. But I wasn't. I was so ingrained into the environment, reaching my own inner journey. Okay, I guess that's kind of hard to say in fatigues. But when you're out there doing that, the area around you can literally fade away. Supernatural and the services. No, I didn't ever have any UAP or UFO experiences. I didn't have any mysterious visitations or anything like that. They were actually driven by conscious exploration.
Next question will be this one here. Matt, do you believe in the elementals?
I would, based on personal experience, I would say yes. Now, based on that definition, I'm going to say yes. What I define them as, whether it's energy or the different aspects of that energy, that's, my personal definition. But by the labeling of elementals, growing up in the South, seeing things and hearing and different things along those lines, I would have to say yes.
Very nice. Very nice. All right. Have you ever had an experience with an elemental?
Yes. You notice how quick that came out.
Tell us about it.
In Mobile, Alabama, we lived right at the edge of the woods, and just on the other side, and I've got a ton of stories about this. But this one particular elemental would constantly make itself known to me, so I just gave it a nickname. Now, I'm not saying this is some little small childhood imaginary friend thing. I'm talking about I'm in high school seeing this elemental in the forest and moving from tree to tree and constantly. But here's my favorite story. So there was a point where I'm looking out there and I can see, some analysts would turn around and say, that's just pareidolia. He was making these shapes out of all the trees and the vines. But it got to the point where it was leaving gifts, whether it be like a random vine that was broken from the trees. And it can't go, wind can't blow it through multiple yards to get to my back porch and lay perfectly at the back porch. All these different things kept happening. So with that being said, that's my personal experience. It was we'll call it my closest friend when I was in high school.
Continuing on, what do you think about the Estes method?
I'm not really familiar with the Estes method.
Dude, you have to try this. So, yeah, you definitely have to try it if you never had. So get some noise canceling headphones.
Mm-hmm.
Get a ghost box. Plug the noise canceling headphones into the ghost box. Wear a blindfold. So that way your hearing and your sight is manipulated.
Mm-hmm.
And then you get somebody, in this case, maybe your wife, Allyson, to walk about 15 feet away from you and ask questions to you. You won't be able to hear it, the questions, but you're hoping to get real-time answers through the ghost box and maybe see things through the blindfold. Now, when I can tell you, I've done the Estes method about 5 times. I have only once ever heard voices, but in 2023 at our Flight 21 location, I actually, inside the blindfold, started seeing a really bright white orb on the left here. So much so that underneath the blindfold, I actually had to close my eyes. It was so bright. And as I was describing this orb of white light in the blindfold, there was an orb, the group of them saw an orb coming out of the sky over top of us. And I had summoned it down.
I'll have to check into that, because usually, to be very honest, usually with the ghost box, and I've used ghost box in the past, I'm usually not a huge fan of using it for data collection. Yeah, it's more about experience. And so I do have one, but I very rarely use it. So
try it out.
Okay.
Just try it out one day.
But I'd like to use it in conjunction with the spectrum analyzer to see if I do hear something, am I getting a measurement of a waveform? Because if I hear it, I could easily use pareidolia and provide that answer. But if I have a waveform, I can actually have the data to back it up. Yeah.
100% agree. 100% agree. I think you should totally give it a try. You would really probably enjoy that. So make sure you give it a try.
But to add to that, that actually sounds like removing the ghost box aspect, the noise canceling headphones and the blindfold. That's a very similar method that's used with a lot of alternative conscious learning experiences, so that they can remove the physical and explore more through the meditation. So.
Yes. All right, let's go. We have 5 minutes to go. Let's see how many more questions we can sneak in here. Let's go to Grandizer. Have we seen a golden age of ghost research? If so, when? If not, is the technology holding to get to that area? Do you see us getting there in our lifetime?
The golden age of ghost research. The golden age of ghost research, I think, well, is that in reference to something else? Or is that what we're considering now?
I would say if we were looking at it right now.
Okay.
Because let me expand on that. Because if you go back to the 2010s, ghost hunting became the most popular and one of the most successful television shows and series in cable television history. Right. And the ratings were rivaling at times NFL games.
I'm going to step back even before that, and I'm probably going to tell my age, but I remember walking around with those big giant video cameras, the VHS that threw out your shoulder when you're trying to record.
Yes.
So, which was the worst thing that you could probably ever review. But I don't think we've seen, honestly, the golden age of ghost research, paranormal research. I'm going to kind of blanket it. I don't think we've seen that yet, to be honest with you. I think we've seen the popularity of it, but I don't think we've actually seen the golden age of research. And the tech holding, we're too wrapped up in what we've already seen versus understanding what's happening. As an example, I'm just going to pick on the K2s. The K2 itself, the antenna is actually on the bottom, not on the front. So a lot of times you see people walk around holding it out like a phaser, it's like they're in some TV show. But understanding the technology and understanding the full scope of it will drive people to not only develop, because like I said before, I focus on plasma, I focus on frequencies, and I'm learning more and more. And it started with my wife's what if with the whole DC voltage thing, and now we're into plasma fields. So we're measuring that and using that to generate these fields. So if we're I do see us getting there, but maybe not in my lifetime, looking at my age here. But I do see the more people start asking questions. That's what I encourage everybody. Just start asking questions. Don't accept what you see. Don't accept just what I say here. Ask questions. Develop your own theories. Learn and grow. That's how we get there.
1 minute to go. Let's sneak in one more question here. Let's go to Jules. Which do you think is better for detection? Someone with psi ability or equipment?
If it can be measured is where I go personally. But to back up with the psi ability, I'm going to go back to what I said earlier. You are the most important tool. And we have more sensors than any device that can be developed. But with that being said, I'm a data person. So I like the idea of having someone who has the ability, but as long as I can measure it. This is my personal, how I approach things. For an investigation, it becomes an objective point of view. So the personal experiences are just as important to me, but I'm also a data-driven individual. So I look for ways to measure it. So if you tell me my body reacts this way, this is what I'm sensing, my gears start going, how can I measure that by either biofields? Do I put monitors on you to measure heart rate, different things like that.
Matt, do us a favor. Tell everybody where they can find your book.
It's on Amazon.com.ca, all of them. I have multiple books out, but this one in particular, Fear is Not Evidence, is on Amazon. Take your pick of the platform. I try to make it as cheap as possible, and because it's not about selling, it's about getting information out there.
Matt Lay, everybody. Our mad paranormal scientist. We love him around here. Go get his book. Swamp Dweller and Lee Strauss are in hour 3.
You're listening to Spaced Out Radio with your host, Dave Scott.
All right, buddy. Thank you very much.
Awesome. I appreciate it. Wow, that time really did fly by.
Really did. Really did. Give your wife a big hug from me.
I will, and I'll pick on her also.
Good.
That's what I do.
Good. Take care, buddy.
All right. Thank you,
Much
sir.
love.
All right. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Stop now! You're under arrest! Hands up! Don't move!
Don't get caught without your Spaced Out Radio merchandise. We have t-shirts, mugs, hoodies, socks, hats, stickers, and so much more. Whatever you're looking for, we have you covered. Why just be a fan of the paranormal when you can look the part? We don't have ugly merch, folks. Check out the Spaced Out Radio store. Find the link in the description below.
Dirty filth. Dirty filth. Dirty filth.
Object is heading north 045 degrees. It's definitely not a plane. It seems to be tethered to something. Is that a banner, Joe? Caribou Con. Does anyone know what Caribou Con is?
Caribou Con, one of the BC Caribou region's best-kept secrets. Until now. Join our panel of renowned paranormal experts for a weekend of fun and intriguing presentations. Go to cariboucon.com to book or inquire now.
Over here. Look at this.
Discover Spaced Out Radio on all your favorite platforms. We're live every single night with the best in UFOs, cryptids, paranormal, and the unexplained. And you can find us on all your favorite platforms. Head over to Instagram for behind the scenes and daily weirdness, TikTok for quick mind-bending clips, Facebook for community discussions, and X for real-time updates and hot takes. Wherever you scroll, Spaced Out Radio is there. So go search Spaced Out Radio on every platform, hit follow, and turn on notifications so you never miss a single episode. The Weird is waiting. See you there.
The McNeil House is one of several buildings at the 108-mile heritage site said to be haunted by spirits of a time long forgotten. But would you stay the night? Along with guided ghost tours and paranormal investigations, Haunted 108 is offering a chance to spend the entire night inside the historic McNeil House by booking one of our B&B style sleepovers, where you can experience the hauntings firsthand, meet the resident ghost cat, and witness unusual activity. If you dare to turn history into a night you'll never forget, book your spot now at haunted108.com. Spots are limited. Will you be brave enough?
All right, let's get ready as we bring in extra small Lee Strauss. There he is. Now he's put it down. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing great. Just texting and trying to find a sticker for my Forerunner.
All right. People can now go onto our chat or onto our store, get your Buffalo Don't Do Alien Abductions t-shirt. It is on there right now. You said you wanted it. I put it up there. I'm a man of my word. Skip to Malou, how are you, my dear? Swamp Dweller will be, let me just check here, about 2.5 minutes, okay? And then we'll get going. Blackthorn, how you doing, man? Mr. Cowley. Here we go with the third and final hour of Spaced Out Radio tonight. My name is Dave Scott. We appreciate you tuning us on in wherever you are on this beautiful planet we call Earth. We have Swamp Dweller and extra small Lee Strauss coming up here momentarily. But first, we want to remind you that, we appreciate you tuning us on in wherever you are listening, including our terrestrial affiliates around North America, digitally on every major podcast network, our website, spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read the news wire, check out our swag as well. You can follow us on X at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on Patreon in the Space Travelers Club. The Desert Clam has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club. Xenomorphic. Xenomorphic is your password. Use it wisely, space travelers, as the Clam sets the password each and every night right here on Spaced Out Radio. Let's head to the swamp.
Hello and welcome to Spaced Out Radio's Swamp. I'm Swamp Dweller, and tonight I'm going to take you on a mystic journey of the unknown, sharing tales of monsters, legends, and nightmares. Welcome to the Spaced Out Radio Swamp.
Hey, Swamp Dweller. Hope things are going well for you. I was listening to one of your episodes with scary cryptid encounters, and it reminded me of a story that my friend told me. Her husband is a police officer in South Carolina, and this is an encounter that she had quite a few years ago. I will call him Mark for privacy reasons. One night, Mark was working the night shift and got a call that the security alarm had gone off at an old Methodist church in town. Apparently, this happened before, and it was usually a false alarm because no one was ever there. The police chalked it up to faulty wiring since the church was fairly old, but they still had to go check it out for protocol purposes. So, Mark heads out with another officer, thinking this is going to be a routine open and shut case. But boy, was he very wrong. This church has 2 levels, and the top level has rooms for the kids' Sunday school services and such like that. Now, Mark turns off the alarm, and he and the second cop start sweeping the place. They don't find anything downstairs, but when they turn to go upstairs, he immediately got a bad feeling in his gut. The other officer actually refused to go upstairs with him because she felt it too scary, and they were actually freaked out. So she stayed at the bottom of the stairs as a lookout while Mark went upstairs. Mark opened the door to one of the Sunday school rooms, swept it with his flashlight across the room, and that's when it happened. He heard a low growl coming from the corner of the room, but when he turned his light toward the sound, there was absolutely nothing there. This room also had something like those fancy electronic books that can sing when you open them, you know, those fancy ones for really little kids that sing nursery rhymes and stuff. Well, as he was standing there, he heard one of those books start to go off by themselves, and it sang this very creepy little song. Again, nobody was there, and the room looked entirely empty. That was enough for Mark. He headed back downstairs and told the other officer they were leaving right then and there. Thankfully, they made it out without any other incident, and he swore never to go back to that church. I actually don't know if the alarm has gone off since then, but my friend told me that before this incident, he had been at that church during the daytime for whatever reason and got a weird vibe from the place during the day too. So who knows what truly happened to Mark? But I bet you he's never going back to that church, and either am I.
Thank you, Swampy, for another weird story. If you want more just like that, head on over to YouTube, type in Swamp Dweller, hit subscribe, ring that bell. Thousands of stories for you to listen to each and every night. So get to it. But not during this show, because you need to listen to us. But afterwards, go ahead. It's a good adventure for you. Time for Lee.
They call him extra small, but he's big where it counts. Chasing Bigfoot through the woods on wild accounts. Talking ghosts in the dark, UFOs in the sky. Aliens laughing while they're cruising by.
Yeah, Lee Strauss is out there. Hear that cosmic call? He's the legend of Element 115. Hero Spaced Out Radio's Q&A.
Extra small Lee Strauss, it's good to have you back on Spaced Out Radio, my man. How are you?
I'm fantastic, Dave. I'm just so glad that I get to come on here, you know, and share an hour with you and hang out with everybody. I mean, what more could you ask for, right?
Exactly. You know what? I appreciate that because you are literally one of the good guys in this field. You really are. Handsome, devilish a little bit, you know, adventurous. I mean, you are a regular MacGyver out in the field as well. I mean, I've seen you literally, you know, build fires with wet leaves. So, no,
yeah,
not working.
We could do that. Sure, absolutely.
Of course we can. Of course we can. You know, the one thing that I love about when you come on, everything is unscripted and everything like that. It's been a busy week in the UFO world.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the topics I want to get into with you is Vice President J.D. Vance came out and basically said that he doesn't believe that there is enough people to keep the secret of UFOs and aliens around the government. He doesn't believe that it's out there. And he believes, because of his religious beliefs, that if anything did come down or people who are being taken, it's demonic. It's demons that is getting them. What do you think about all that?
Okay. So it is so funny because this is unscripted, right? And I was just thinking before the show about this very same thing with J.D. Vance. Now, the first time he came out and said anything, he was like, okay, you know, I think there's something out there. I grew up on Star Trek and all this stuff when I was growing up. And then all of a sudden, his tune kind of changed. And I was wondering, you know, the second time he mentioned it, he kind of downplayed it a little bit. And he has continued this same theme. yes, there might be something out there, but it's probably demonic, and all of this other stuff is now his, that's what he's saying, right? And so I think somebody got to him. Now, it's very possible he could be elected as our next president, right? That's it's a possibility, and I don't think we're going to see a lot on this subject with him if he becomes our next president, which is unfortunate. So I'm hoping with Mr. Trump here that we can get the majority of this information out before we change over to a new president. Do I ever think that they will go into the abduction phenomena? I don't think that we're going to hear about that. They're going to probably come out and say, okay, well, there's, ETs in the sky, they come from somewhere else, right? And they're time travelers, or they're coming from another planet, or another dimension, or something like that, whatever they're going to come up with. But yeah, I just don't think that they're going to go into the whole abduction phenomenon. One of the reasons why I think that, Dave, is because they would have to say, yeah, we know that abductions are happening, and we can't do anything about it. Now, admitting that to the nation and to the people around the world that, yeah, abductions are happening and we can't do anything about it, that scares the hell out of everybody.
Here's the thing, though, Lee. Let's expand on this for a little bit here, because he's not the first one to say this. We've heard the big three, Anna Paulina Luna, mention it. I mean, how many times has she posted on X the Book of Enoch? Like, very, very eerily putting that out there. We've heard her, we've heard Eric Burleson talk about that there is a religious component to this that goes even beyond religion. Tim Burchett has said this. And, many other people have said that this does seem to be some sort of, how can we put it? Some sort of magnification of what we currently know biblically or religiously. What could we be missing?
I don't think.
Go ahead. No, please.
No, I was just going to say, yeah, there could be a religious component to this, but going out right and saying that they're demons, there's plenty of other entities within the book of the Bible, like the Watchers. So you don't necessarily want to go straight to demons with these things, but I understand where people would want to do that, right? Because they want an explanation. They want to make up an explanation for themselves so that they can put, this in a little box for themselves, when the greater, the greater story might be much bigger than that. I watched the Steven Spielberg movie, Disclosure Day, right? And a lot of people, so many people online and, on X and everywhere, where they were saying, well, it's a farce, they're discounting God. And that's not what Disclosure Day was talking about. They said that God created not only Earth and the humans here, but he created all the planets and all the beings of the entire universe, right? So I think that if we look towards the Watchers, and if you think about the Garden of Eden, and the serpent in the tree and the apple, what does that represent? And a lot of people think that represents knowledge. So did we take a bite of knowledge? And that's the evil. Was that the evil they're talking about? So it goes so in so many different directions. And yes, it would be nice to narrow it down and put it in a box, but I don't think it's that easy.
I often wonder, if I let my mind wander for a little bit, I often wonder whether or not this is something that has been covered up for centuries. Look, we know the King James Version of the Bible, which is the main Bible used these days, and I'm no expert on it, so please forgive me if I misquote here. All right? But we do know that it was an edited book. We know books like the Book of Enoch were taken out. We know other texts were taken out. And we know that even though it still pushes a very highly, version, highly sensitive version of both the New and Old Testament, that it doesn't mention anything about alien life out there. It does mention that beware of anything that comes from the stars or from the sky, because it's likely demonic and from, a present from Beelzebub himself. Okay. And I'm paraphrasing there, obviously. And I often wonder, though, what are we missing out on? What are the countries, whether it's the Vatican, the U.S. government, or other religious institutions, what are they leaving out from the public? What have they left out for centuries that we don't know? Why did Anna Paulina Luna mention the Book of Enoch? Why has Eric Burleson mentioned the Book of Enoch? Are they trying to manipulate this situation into a religious conversation? Or is there something hidden there that we do not know about or that we're bypassing that really deals with involvement of ET contact?
Well, this kind of puts me in the hot seat because there's a lot of things I'd like to say, and I don't want to. The thing is with I'm Catholic, okay, so that's the way I grew up. But I also grew up being a Catholic. I grew up in a family that did believe in UFOs and ETs, okay, because of what they had seen in their lives. And the issue is yes, I believe the Bible. Okay. I really do. But there are things in the Bible that seem to have been put in there, and the way the words, the scriptures have been turned and twisted to gain power over the masses. Okay. Now that's just a possibility. I'm not saying that that's exactly what happened or what is. Like you talk about the King James Version of the Bible. Yes, there was a lot of stuff taken out. And I often wonder if it wasn't so that certain individuals, could gain power in a way, right? Or control over the masses. Because humans are greedy, right? They just are. Yes, those are the words of God, but you could take these texts and decipher it in many different ways for yourself, right? It doesn't have to be. It fits into a lot of different categories if you want it to. I think that some of that stuff was taken out of there because they didn't want people to realize that it's possible we came from another place. When you think of the term that we were created in God's image, were humans created in God's image, or was our soul created in God's image? Did God create our souls in God's image? And that's where I think we have to think about things, and not our bodies. Okay, that's the way I believe.
So do you think there is more to it, or do you think the religious aspect is part of the cover-up?
I think they're using it as a cover-up in a way. And that goes back to the whole fear thing. Demons are bad and ETs are demons. So, we need to protect ourselves against those demons. So, we need to make sure that we put a bunch of money into certain programs to protect the human race. Whether it's like Space Force or or the military, the industrial complex. I mean, let's funnel money into these different programs so that we can protect ourselves against demons. Now, realistically, the only way to protect yourself against demons is by devoting yourself to Christianity and to God and to Jesus, right? So we can't do anything against true demons.
No, and I understand that. But what I'm saying though is in regards to JD Vance's comments that he made, is this part of the cover up? I can understand his personal belief, but is this part of a cover up to try and get people to either A, go back to church, or B, there is something to it and we're just not paying attention to that portion of it?
Well, whoever's giving him these talking points, and I think I do believe in, a shadow government of some sort, right? So I believe that is the talking point that they want to push, so that we rely on our own government more, you know what I mean? And have some fear within the populace that only the government can protect us against demons or the ETs.
So do you think then that maybe this is a buildup to like an alien false flag invasion?
I wouldn't go that far. We've heard for years about Project Bluebeam and the government going to do some false flag type of thing with ETs and seeing things in the sky and all of that. But I think, that could be just another BS story, so that we bow down to our own government. But I don't think that Project Bluebeam is something that's actually going to happen.
Well, let's hope not. Let's hope not. Because, for people who have been abducted, like myself, like others who've listened to this show, okay, we look at this as a very serious, we know what we saw type of experience, whether it's positive, whether it's negative. There's the old, he's passed away now for a number of years, but an old LA Times journalist named Philip Kraft, he literally didn't believe in any of this, would not run it in the LA Times at all when he was editor. Okay, these UFO stories, thought they were BS until one day he got taken and he wrote an incredible set of books about it. Okay, about ET disclosure and everything that happened to him. And one of the things that he did ask was whether or not they believed in God and heaven. And the aliens that took him, they were called the Verdants. They said yes. And in fact, somewhere up in the stars, they said they found heaven. And they had to wait a number of weeks for their religious leader from their planet to get there. And apparently he walked in, and because he walked in the gates and came back and he said, rejoice, and it was that simple. Right. So yes, I mean, I look at that as an eye opener that if that story is true, then we could be dealing with something bigger than what we think. Right.
Oh, we're definitely dealing with something bigger than we think. And I 100% agree with that. Our minds are not built to understand the universe in its entirety. We just are not. And a lot of people think that you need to transition from, where we are being human now to whatever it is when we pass away to be able to understand the entirety of the universe, right? And get connected to the source of all information, God, before we understand things, right? So we're so infantile here. We really are. If you were to think about where we're at, we're probably like a fly in your house buzzing around a piece of fruit, compared to the entirety of the knowledge in the universe. Even maybe even smaller than that.
Probably.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and it could be that way, way more than what we can even imagine. And I think that's what finds this subject so fascinating, because when you talk to experiencers, they'll be the first ones to tell you whether it was a beautiful, peaceful, you know, encounter, or whether it was a living hell where their bodies were put through surgeries. They'll be the first ones to tell you. They know a lot more than what we think. This is the first half hour down with Lee Strauss from Element 115 on Spaced Out Radio's channel. And the next final half hour of the show comes up right after this.
This is Spaced Out Radio. Your host, Dave Scott.
All right, we're clear.
Oh man, that was
apparently
fantastic.
I'm getting werewolf in regards to flat Earth. I don't mind bringing on a flat earther. No problem talking about the subject. No problem. I scoff at flat Earth because I think it's funny that every other planet is round, but we're a flat table. But I do have questions. You know what? I do have questions.
You know, that's the whole thing about the firmament. I can't even say it.
Firmament.
Yeah. And the dome that's over the flat Earth.
We'll save this for the next half hour. Let's save this for the next half hour. This is going to be fun. Werewolf, this part's for you. But if you ever want me to book a guest, guys, I don't do my booking. Dirty Filth does. Message bookings at spacedoutradio.com. Bookings at spacedoutradio.com. Okay? You're more than welcome. I have no fear of anybody, guys. The only time I've ever frozen as a journalist was when Wayne Gretzky was literally 8 inches away from me, and he looked at me for a question, and I froze. I have no problem doing a flat Earth show. No, none whatsoever. Yeah, I mean, if it was Sydney Sweeney on the other side, I might be a little parched. Right? Of course it is, Joe, but who cares? Enjoy the woo of it all, man. Enjoy the woo of it. I have questions. We'll get to that in a moment.
Yeah.
It's funny if I do a flat Earth show, and I've done about 5 or 6 of them over the years. If I do a flat Earth show, it's amazing how pissed off people get. It's so amazing how
I'm one of them.
People get. Like it's like if you talk about God, people will rake you over the coals. But if you talk about the devil, they're all like, ooh, scary, eerie. Oh, wow. Right? I don't like talking about the devil. I don't want to give him any more popularity. That's right, Flat Six. If loving the woo is wrong, I don't want to be right. That should be a t-shirt. Do you mind if I borrow that? Put that on a t-shirt?
Definitely needs to be.
Yeah, we got to do that. Make me a t-shirt logo. If loving the woo is wrong, I don't want to be right. Should we put a train in there? The woo train?
Oh.
What do you think, Lee? Or just leave it in letters?
Leave it in letters and see what happens.
All right, let's check that out. Let's see what we can do here. Prince Arcane, how you doing, buddy? Kevin Sprague, nice to have you here.
The ice wall. Yeah, no kidding.
Oh, T-Bone's not liking this. T-Bone's about to throw his remote control at his television right now.
Yeah, the hollow earth theory and all of that. Admiral Berg. Mm-hmm.
My tinnitus is bad tonight. I could barely hear you over the ringing in my ears.
You're kidding.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. Here we go. 4 seconds. Final half hour of Spaced Out Radio, extra small. Lee Strauss here with us tonight. My name is Dave Scott. Love it when Lee is on. And I got challenged during the break on our YouTube side. I got challenged, Lee. Okay. Werewolf in our chat room. He's not a real werewolf, but goes by that name. Why don't you ever talk flat earth? Why don't you do it? Probably because I don't believe in it. But I do have some questions, Lee Strauss.
All right, bring it on.
I do have some questions about, the whole globe aspect. When the Flat Earth Society put on X that they have members all across the globe, that was pretty troublesome for me. I never got over that one. That's a true statement there too, by the way.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Right? But I have questions. How come people, you can use the gravity thing, but how come people in Australia are not walking upside down?
Why? You're asking me.
I'm just putting it out there. This is one of the questions. How come they don't fall off? If we're on the upper part, okay, how come people on the bottom don't fall off?
Well, the center of gravity.
I actually asked Science Bob that one day. And his answer was actually kind of cool. He said, because in space, there is no up or down.
Yeah, in space there's not, but on Earth there is. On all planets, in fact, there is an up and down, right? And it has to do with the center of gravity on the planet that you're on.
I get that.
Everything attracts to the center because
how come the water doesn't fall off?
Same reason. Everything is attracted to the center of the planet. I mean, if you dug a hole to the center of the planet and you stood above that hole, you'd fall in towards the center of the earth. And that pressure would crush you into nothing by the time you got to the center.
I know, but these are the simple human questions that I have. Okay? Why and people are now, I don't buy the whole flat earth thing. Okay, that Australia isn't real. A lot of flat earthers will say Australia isn't real. I believe
people
it
live
is.
there. People watch the show and then listen
I
to the
know.
show.
I got
and they're
Aussie
going,
Boss
"Okay."
Tiger from Australia living in the future. By the way, let me know if I'm alive tomorrow because you live in the future.
So if there's a flat Earth, why is there time zones? You could. I mean, we can get into this whole thing, right?
Well, all I'm saying is, look, I'm a glober, okay? I'm a globe guy. I am. But I have questions.
Okay.
I do. And that's about people falling off. Water not draining. Because if you had a firmament around a flat Earth, the water would stay in.
Yeah, that's
unless
true.
you had a tidal wave which splashed over.
Well, like in 2012, that movie 2012. So the whole thing with the firmament and all of that, okay, so satellites, you can see the darn satellites in the sky, and they go from one horizon to the other. Well, if you wait 90 minutes, it's going to be back, and it may be in a little bit different position as happens, but it'll be up there. You can really see it with the ISS, because that thing.
I believe in space. I believe in the moon. Like I said, I'm a globe guy.
Yeah.
Right? I am.
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes I get silly questions in my head. I do. And since I've literally experienced a lot of weird things over my life, especially the last 12, 14 years, my mind is open to anything.
Well, if that were the case, if the flat Earth was real, what you would see with like the ISS in the sky, it would go across, and it would have to do like a turn up, in the sky where we couldn't see it, and then start over again. It'd have to do this looping thing. So that doesn't even make sense, right? Because when it goes across the sky, it goes from it starts, in one hemisphere and goes to the other, right? So then why would it all of a sudden then change direction and do a 90-degree turn? We would see it. Somebody would see the darn ISS do a 90-degree turn to go circumvent back the other way and just to start over again. It doesn't make the whole premise doesn't make sense when you can look out at all the planets in our solar system and they're all round, right? The other thing that you can do is when you look at the moon and you notice that it goes through phases, right? And sometimes you have an eclipse with the moon or the sun, and you can actually see the curvature of the shadow of the Earth on the moon as the sun is behind us.
So I asked ChatGPT, give me a flat Earth argument in bullet point form. There's a good one right here. Water always seeks its own level and should not curve over large distances. Think about that one.
So in construction, I work in construction, okay, and a lot of the time when we're seeking level on a floor, we will use a water level, which is a long tube, right? And we can set it to a height on the, like, I'm going to call it a PT deck or a post-tension deck, to see where we're up 4'6" on one side, and then we take that hose and we run it to the other side where we think the level may be a little different, and we can check with that water level if we're getting 4'6" over there or if it's at a different height. You can do the same thing with a theodolite or a builder's level, right? But water will seek its own level. You're right. So if you had a long enough tube, you could stretch it across, let's say, 3 miles, then you would notice that it's going to again seek its own level, right? But what it'll happen is it'll have a little bit of a curve in that, right? So if then you shoot a laser from 3 miles away to 3 miles, across over, it's going to be at a higher level than what you're measuring on one end.
I understand.
I hope I explained that well enough, but yeah, it's, in fact, I think there was a test that was done that the flat earthers did where they shot a laser across and they couldn't explain why, they were shooting at level and it was up higher across,
I get
they
that.
were shooting.
I
Mhm.
saw that experiment too. All right, here, let's go back to ChatGPT here for a second. Distant buildings and mountains are sometimes visible farther than expected or than the expected horizon.
That's because of the elevation that you're viewing the mountains or the hills or whatever it is across the way, right? So if you're going to
Airplanes are said to fly level without constantly pitching downward to follow Earth's curve.
a plane is going to, cruising altitude somewhere around 40,000 feet. So you're going to stay 40,000 feet, as they fly, you're just going to curve. You're not running horizontally flat all the time. You can't, because you would fly off into space.
They argue, flat earthers that is, that the horizon always rises to eye level regardless of altitude. Why can't we feel the speed of the spinning planet? These are questions.
Because we're getting pulled to the center of the planet. We can't feel that motion. There's no weight in space, right? There's gravity, but you're weightless in space.
It's a subject that just makes me wonder sometimes. It makes me wonder.
Well, I think generally people like to have something to argue about. It's like were the towers taken down, or did planes actually crash into them? I mean, it's all these conspiracy theories. Even the craziest one that I've ever heard is that birds aren't real and they're like spy robots for the government.
That is a horrible conspiracy theory.
It's funnier. It's so hilarious.
Oh, man. Man. I don't even want, you know what? I don't even want to think about birds because I got bird nests in my carport. I do. I got bird nests in my carport, man. I don't want to think my swallows are spying on me right now. Terrible thought.
Well, you've seen the pictures, I'm sure, of birds that have ended up on the ground dead, and there's computer parts or pieces or this and that. It's just obnoxious. People are obviously doing it for a joke.
It's like the Thunderbird, not the United States Air Force Thunderbirds, but people claim to see the Thunderbird. I have troubles with that one. I do. I want to believe that it's out there, but I think of the possibilities. That thing's got to go to the bathroom one day. And a 40-foot bird is going to paint a car. It's going to paint a house. It's going to paint trees. And what the heck would it eat? I mean, that thing's got to be pounding back at least 3-4 deer a day. in order to survive.
Yeah.
Where's its nests? How come we don't find an 80-foot or a 60-foot round nest?
That's part of that whole Native American mythology, right? There may have been back in the day still some leftover birds, big birds that aren't around anymore. I mean, you got condors and stuff like that. They're just massive birds, but I don't think there's a thunderbird left. But I don't know.
By the way, did you see that Blue Angels pilot fly right over top of the audience on the beach? If you've not seen that footage, he's maybe 25, 30 feet above the audience, maybe 40 feet. Crazy.
I heard somebody got in trouble. A pilot got in trouble and got reprimanded because he was flying so low.
Well, he got his hand slapped, but he didn't get removed for the team or anything like that. But he was kicking it. Like tents were collapsing and the sand was blowing on the beach. People were loving it. They're all like, woo, Blue Angels, right?
Of course. Absolutely.
It was
I haven't
awesome
seen
close.
that. I haven't seen that footage.
It was
but
awesomely close. Yeah, you have to see that one. That's a pretty impressive video. It's all over social media.
Well, I'll tell you, here in Washington State, they train all the time. We got McCord and we've got a couple other bases here, but they will go through the mountains, and especially up where the ski areas are, and come through super, super low. And I've seen them come through, and it's like, holy cow, because all of a sudden they're on top of you. You don't hear anything. And then it's like, and you think that the whole mountain's coming down on you, but they're just doing their practice runs.
People in my area were freaking out recently, like the last couple of days recently, because there were 3 Apache helicopters and a Black Hawk helicopter of the U.S. military flying through our area, probably going from Alaska down to wherever they're stationed, probably Washington State or Oregon or wherever. But people are like, what are all these Army helicopters doing around here? It's crazy. Because we don't get that up here. We don't get that kind of entertainment up here.
Yeah, it is impressive when you're able to see it, though. I look at that stuff and I'm like, holy cow, right? It doesn't happen that often. And when it does, what the heck is going on? And, you don't know if they're doing training in the area or whatever. It could be a joint kind of operations that they're doing, between Canada and the U.S. Who knows? Maybe they're doing mock searches even sometimes.
So on the base with the Blue Angels at Pensacola Beach, because they're from Pensacola, Florida, Blue Angels confirmed that one of their aircraft flew lower than standard during the Breakfast with the Blues arrival. The Navy acknowledged that the pass was lower than the normal profile. Acting Navy Secretary Hung Kao announced that there would be no reprimands or firings. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth publicly supported the pilot and the Blue Angels. However, the pilot's identity remains undisclosed. Really, all you have to do is go on their website. And the number of the craft, I believe it was number 3 that did it. And just look on the website. Who's pilot number 3? That's it. That's it.
Well, just like you said, you might have had some people that were startled, but others were like, heck yes. I support it. Heck yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Just fly, man. Just fly that jet. That's $55 million worth of power behind your back that you're strapped into. You fly the hell out of that plane, man. You only got 2 years as a Blue Angel. You'll never do it again. Go for it. Just go.
And that's why the crowd is there. They want that. They want to feel that roar in their chest. I mean, they probably, who knows if they paid tickets to be where they are, but holy cow, when you go to something like that, that's what's going to rally you up and get you excited.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. That video is going to be on every Freebird video that people make on the internet now. Absolutely. And by the way, I will say this. I was never a Leonard Skinner fan. Okay. But over the last number of years, and it's not because of Forrest Gump, but that guitar solo in Freebird is, I think it's the greatest guitar solo ever. I do.
Now you're talking about stuff that is completely out of my league. I do not know what you were talking about.
Freebird? Leonard Skinner Freebird? Oh, dude, you're like 70 years old and you've never heard Freebird.
I don't know that I have, Dave. You know, music is kind of a different thing for me.
Yeah, you're into that honky tonk.
I'm into a little bit of everything, but I couldn't tell you. I know the name Leonard Skinner, but
yeah, you'd know Freebird to hear it.
Probably.
Yeah, greatest guitar solo ever. Greatest guitar solo. Nothing better. Nothing better than that. We got about a minute to go, Lee.
Yes, sir.
When do you expect Tranche 5?
Oh, Tranche 5. Let's see. What's the date? Today's the 17th. I need to look at a calendar and I can kind of guess for you. I expect it by the end of the month. So I would say the 31st. That's what I'm going with.
You think we'll get the same amount of videos? Do you think that's what it's going to come down to? Because Neil deGrasse Tyson basically saying publicly now, videos aren't enough. We need the craft. We need the alien bodies. And you know what? For the first time, I'm going to say I actually agree with him.
I would say we need some in the hangar photos or video. In the hangar.
Oh, that would be nice.
Mm-hmm.
A little bit of hangar photos.
Mm-hmm.
A little bit of aliens on the side walking around in flight suits.
That'd be nice, but I don't think we're going to get the aliens for quite a while.
And Lee Strauss tipping his cap to the aliens or the UFOs right there. That's the way he does it. And Lee, I want to say once again, a big thank you. It's always fun to have you coming on the air with us. We greatly appreciate it, even though you have no clue about Leonard Skinner's Freebird. You're going to go look that up right after we're done. As we say hello, Mr. Ron Bumblefoot Thal, rocking in the background with Little Brother is watching. Bumblefoot is the official music of Spaced Out Radio, rocking us in and out of every single show. Get your horns up for the guitar god himself. Special thanks to everybody listening in at work, at home, in your cars, wherever you may be. Thank you to everyone in our chat rooms tonight. YouTube, Twitch, LGAB, Facebook, Spreaker, LinkedIn, the Space Travelers Club, and on X. Remember, this show is copyright by Spaced Out Radio and Bigfoot Broadcasting Limited. Thank you so much for choosing to share your evening with us, because together, my friends,
make a mistake. We're watching.
We own the night. Mr. Bumblefoot, we need a favor. We need you to take us home. Yes, the Woo train has docked for the night, but soon, my friends, we shall ride again. Your seats are always available. Your tickets never expire. And if you want to bring a friend, we've got room for them too. Good night, everybody. I got my batteries for my Newar lights now.
Oh, you got batteries?
Yeah, man.
So yours are a little different because mine do not take batteries. Holy crap, look at the size of that battery. What I do is I have battery packs, and I will attach the battery pack to the stand and run a wire. That way they'll be on all night long. But mine also have the internal battery.
Yeah, mine. No, these ones are a different brand. Like same brand, but just different model.
Well, probably a newer model, actually.
Maybe.
With that big battery, it must make them pretty heavy.
It's not too bad. You know, I mean, they're like the Iron Sheik's ones that he had. Oh, you don't know Iron Sheik. What the fuck am I talking about?
What are you talking about, WWE?
Makes them pretty bright, though.
Yeah, they can get pretty darn bright. They'll light up the camp for sure.
Oh, God, yeah. We were playing with them in the studio yesterday. Oh, yeah. I can't believe you've never listened to Freebird. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm really troubled by that right now.
Mine are right here. I don't know where your battery hooks into this thing.
I'll show you. Hold on. Make me get up, you son of a bitch. Why is it so dark in here? It's not that dark.
Old man.
I am a grumpy son of a bitch today. Hold on. I just, I gotta take that off. Hold on. And
it's like a cricket stick.
Oh,
yeah.
look how dark I'm getting. Ooh. Oh, God, that's bright.
I think mine are dead. Oh, there we go.
When it gets bright, man, like you can't even look at this, man. That thing kills the eyes.
Oh, yeah.
Oh. Ready? Hold on. I gotta put my. Oh my God! I can't even look at that. What did I do there? Bring that down.
Look at that, huh?
Hold on a second. Let me get mine to play. Hold on a second here.
Yeah, this darn thing is stupid bright. Holy cow. Lightsabers, yeah, pretty much.
I gotta figure how do these go on?
What? The handle?
Oh, I'm trying to figure out how the color bands go on.
Color band? I don't have a color band. What are you talking about?
Yours just change color?
Yeah, I can change it.
Hold on a second.
Ooh.
Change the color.
I just run it anyway, pretty much any color I want.
How do you do that?
I've got this little dial in the back there. I can change the color.
See, mine doesn't have. Oh, mine has that dial. What the hell does that do?
I just run my finger across it and I can change the color.
Oh, see, mine doesn't have that.
Oh, you got the reject model.
You're a reject.
Hmm.
I don't mind to change color.
Well, if you want to, I use red a lot because, you know, I like to preserve my night vision when I'm out there, right?
How the hell do these go on?
Which, by the
They've
way,
got these slide things.
I don't know what the heck that is. And your battery on that, yours.
Maybe they slide in. Oh, I get it. Oh, I get it. Hold on.
Yeah, he gets it all right.
Yeah, they do. Right there. I get it now. We have a bingo.
Yeah, all your yeah.
Mm.
Mm.
Come on, Lee, let's do this thing. Oh, okay, that's enough fun for right now. All right.
I thought I sent you the link to these ones, the ones I bought.
You did.
And that's what showed up?
Yeah.
Oh boy.
I don't mind. It's pretty damn good, man. Good stuff. Probably put the batteries in here. Put that cap now. Bet you that's what fell.
You have to have red.
I got red.
Okay, good.
I got those red slides.
Okay, yeah, definitely when you're out there.
Yeah.
I just put the red lights in the new 4Runner for the interior.
Yeah.
So that the bugs don't come in, you know, and the when you open the door and it's great for when I'm out on investigations.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Oh well. Beauty. Fucking beauty. Hold on. That was fun though. It was a good battle.
I guess I was Darth Vader with the red one.
Darth Lever.
Oh my.
Oh, where are we? Good times. Good times by all.
That's right, my friend.
What are your plans for this weekend?
Well, I'm going to go pick up my mom in the morning, and I'm headed out to Lake Cheese, and I'm going to go kayaking when she has fun on the shore. She wants to go out in the woods, and so I told her I'd take her with me.
You look like a kayaker.
Yeah, I like to kayak.
I'm not trendy enough to be a paddle boarder.
You know, I haven't tried paddle boarding, but everybody seems to like it. It's just difficult, you know, getting anywhere at any, you know, it's slow. It's going to be a slower.
Yeah. Joe has a good idea here. Would you listen to Freebird for the first time?
Yeah.
Can you please record it so that way we can get a reaction video?
Okay.
Yeah.
You know, I've probably heard it several
Millions
times.
of times.
Not...
God, every time the United States scored at the Olympics, they played Freebird.
Oh, okay. Well.
Then they went and beat Team Canada. Oh. Nothing worse than being called silver. I guess there is, soccer fan. But
We're both silver in the beard. I swear this is... I'm looking for a Bigfoot sticker, exactly the same one I had on my old Forerunner.
Yeah.
They just don't make it anymore.
Wow.
Very upsetting.
Put it through Chat GPT and get it printed out.
Well, I've got one in white, but I want it in black.
Yeah, but all you do is go to Chat GPT and tell them to make you a black one.
Yeah.
Take it to your local sticker store. Costs you like $5.
Yeah, that would be a good idea, just to have it made.
You need some badass Sasquatch on your doors. Might sell my Jeep.
You're going to sell it?
I might.
Well, you were sporting a Bronco.
I much prefer the Bronco over the Wrangler.
Yeah, I can see that.
I got an old guy in town who might want to buy my Jeep.
How are the Broncos doing, by the way? Are they
I'll tell you, this is a true story. I have been a Jeep owner for 25 years. I love Jeeps. I do. When I bought my 2013 Jeep Wrangler, I thought, I will never sell this vehicle. This is my forever vehicle. And then I drove a Ford Bronco. I feel every bump in my Jeep Bronco with the suspension it has, barely feel anything.
That's the way the Forerunner is. It's unreal how well it performs on those back roads. It's like it floats over everything. It's just like, what the heck? This is not like, my old Forerunner or my F-350. It's amazing.
Yeah, it's absolutely amazing. So I do want to explore the option of potentially selling my Jeep, because the shitty part about it is I was thinking, man, this would be like my son will be driving in 3 years, and this would be the perfect vehicle for him, right? Because it's a manual transmission, but on the flip side, I don't know if I would trust him driving that on the highways in wintertime around here, because the Jeeps, they're all over the place in the winter. They really are. My Jeep is all over the place in winter. And I got great tires, man. Like, I didn't cheap out on the tires or anything, right?
Yeah.
But that small wheelbase just really does it. So with my work vehicle being a Bronco, I'm really leaning towards a Bronco, but they're just so damn expensive, right? Really expensive. So we'll see how it goes.
Yeah. I get you. I'm sure you can get a good deal on a used one, though, too.
Yeah. Well, I'm always keeping my eye open. The thing is, if I'm going to sell my Jeep, I have a 2013 Jeep Wrangler, and let me convert it to miles for you. Hold on. So when I bought it, it had about 39,146 miles on it. And I've owned it for almost, I think it'll be February or March. It will be 5 years. So 4.5 years I've put on 14,500 miles. I don't drive it during the winter. Strictly a summer vehicle or spring through fall vehicle.
Yeah.
Spends more time off road than on road.
That's the way to be.
But, I don't know if I would trust my son in that vehicle. I'm a pretty confident driver in winter driving, but I don't like driving my Jeep in winter. I really don't. The Bronco, I'll take that thing anywhere. Right? But they're so friggin' expensive right now.
Yeah, anything right now is expensive.
Dude, if I were to get a fully loaded Sasquatch edition Bronco brand new up here, it's $90,000.
Jeez.
Yeah. $90,000.
They need to make a Sasquatch edition 4Runner.
And then I'm debating, okay, well, if I'm going to spend, even though I can't afford that kind of payment, because you're literally looking at a $1,400, $1,500 a month payment on that. That's a mortgage.
Yeah, that is.
I don't have that kind of money right now.
No. My payment's just over $700 a month. The thing that got me is my insurance over doubled.
Even for a 2016?
What?
Even for because your 4Runner's a 16, isn't it?
No. Yeah, my 4Runner is a 19.
Oh, a 19. Even for a 7-year-old vehicle, your insurance went up that much, eh?
Yep.
You pay a year for insurance down there.
Well, let's see. So let me think about that. Right now I have to do the math, my friend. A lot. Clear. 5,000, over 5,000.
God, British Columbia's insurance is cheaper than down there. I don't believe that. How many accidents you got?
Only one. That's a story in its own.
Oh my God, dude. I would have never thought.
I backed into my boss's vehicle in the parking lot.
I would have never thought your insurance down there would be more than ours up here.
Yeah.
That just blows me away.
Yeah, it's and my brother is my insurance agent too, but I don't get any kickbacks or any deductions being a family member, unfortunately.
Dude, you gotta shop that shit around. You gotta go see Flo.
Flo is hot.
Yeah, dude. I don't know if I would ever pay that. $5,000. And do they at least let you do monthly installments on that?
I do.
Okay, yeah, because we got that up here.
Yeah, I pay monthly. They say that I pay every 6 months, but that's how they parse it out. But it's still a monthly thing.
That's just crazy.
Mm-hmm.
And you've never heard Freebird?
I probably have, but I'm not going to put it on right now while you're still recording.
No, you can't do that. You can't.
Yeah, right, exactly.
No, you can't do that. Where the hell is my mouse? There it is.
My mouse is about to die.
Just roll the battery in it. You'll be fine.
Well, my friend, I'm going to go because I'm going to have to get up early and go pick up Mom.
Yeah, I got to go to work tomorrow.
So I am out of here, my friend.
You go, buddy. All right. Give me 2 seconds. Lee? Thank you, buddy.
You too. Good night.
Talk to you soon. Lee Struess, everybody. Extra small Lee Struess. There he is. He's number 48 on your bingo card. And he's gone. All right. 2 seconds here. All right, make sure you go get your shirts. I made them up for you guys. All right. Go there. Shaq Filet, how you doing? All right, where are we here? That's almost done. That's almost done. I'll tell you guys, sometimes I should say all the time, I really, really like having no Walter Sterling on Friday nights. I love Walter. Don't get me wrong. I do. But it's just nice to have a night off. That one's done. That one is done. Who do we got on Monday? You might want to tune in on Tuesday night. So we got Larry Eisler on Monday. We're going to talk some paranormal, supernatural stuff. Everett Themer on Tuesday. Patrick Spain on Wednesday. William Lunsford Thursday. David Cole Friday. There's going to be a major SOR announcement on Tuesday. You guys will get it first. The rest of the public will get it Wednesday. Yeah, I got to get Walter Bosley back on. It might be about the weekend show. Billins Herb. I can't tell you that. Major announcement. That's all I'm going to say. Am I blurry on camera right now? Jay, the problem with having Walter on is this would be his Saturday night. So he spends it with his kids and wife. I will get him on. I just don't know when. And I'll be honest with you, Walter intimidates me a little bit because he's so good. Like, dude is a pro. Dude is a complete pro. And what he sees in us, me, I don't know. I really don't, but it is what it is. He likes me, so I just keep doing it. Oh, there you guys are. Oh, God, I saw FAP. Better not wear these anymore for the rest of the night. So that way I don't see FAP. Oh, God, it's hideous. Hideous. It does look a little blurry. There we go. No. Go back there. Oh, well. Anyways, I'm going to bed. Thank you to T-Bone and Shogun for the super chats. T-Bone, thank you for gifting a membership. Thank you for being awesome, guys, and having a great week. We're going to get it done next week as well. And we look forward to seeing you all back next week. Okay, my friends? Thank you. Appreciate you. And don't forget to leave a comment. If you haven't already, give us a thumbs up. It helps with the algorithms. And good night, everybody. Have a great weekend.
Healthy, my friend.
You too.
You need bail money, give me a call.
Always, Dad. Take care.
You too.